Globus-enabled systems. So what's Globus? It's a secure, reliable service. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. So what's Globus? It's a secure, reliable service. With the Globus platform, you can easily incorporate robust capabilities. And if the data is sensitive, no problem. Globus can be used to manage protected data. With Globus, you can easily share your data without having to move it or copy it. With Globus, subscribers can easily move and share. And if you have any more questions about Globus, visit Globus. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many thousands face the same challenges every day and solve them with Globus. So what's Globus? So what's Globus? It's a secure, reliable service. With the Globus platform, you can easily incorporate robust capabilities. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. And if the data is sensitive, no problem. Globus can be used to manage protected data. With Globus, you can easily share your data without having to move it or copy it. With Globus, subscribers can easily move and share. And if you have any more questions about Globus, visit Globus. So how can you get started using Globus? Anyone can use Globus right now for free to transfer files between Globus-enabled systems. So what's Globus? It's a secure, reliable service. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. So what's Globus? It's a secure, reliable service.
I'm joined now by one of the lawmakers involved in today's hearing, Republican Congressman from California, Jay Obernolte. And he's one of the few lawmakers in Congress with a background in tech. He was a video game developer. For all I know, he's still a video game developer, among other things. Congressman, the bottom line is you actually speak the language, if you will. Which not enough members of Congress do. So you heard some of the technical explanations that CEO Chu was making there. Anything he say give you some calm? Anything he say sort of appease you a little bit?
Well, it was a very interesting interview. I thought he kept his composure pretty well the whole way through. Unfortunately, he didn't give me the answers that I wanted to hear. My questions for him were technical questions about how this so-called Project Texas, which is their phrase for the effort to firewall user data in America away from mainland China, how that would actually be accomplished. And from a technical perspective, I'm very skeptical that it is technically feasible to do that in a way that would be impossible to defeat. And many of the questions that I asked him, he said, "Well, I'll get back to you, Congressman." So I'll look forward to seeing the written answers there.
Was this the committee hearing to say, "I'm going to get back to you"? I mean, he didn't have some of these answers. I mean, I'm guessing this was not your first interaction with people with TikTok, because I know they've been sort of having behind the scenes. I mean, they knew the information you guys were looking for. They weren't prepared?
Well, I mean, first of all, to be fair to him, he was asked hundreds of questions today.
Okay.
So I think if you hear something that you weren't expecting to hear and you don't have a ready answer for, that's the default stance. But on the other hand, I think that also it makes you come off as very evasive when you don't have those ready answers, particularly, as you say, in a hearing where a lot of those questions can be anticipated.
There's two things that have been sort of yellow flags to me. The explanation as to why divesting doesn't matter. He seemed to really believe divesting doesn't matter. Do you believe it doesn't matter?
I don't think it doesn't matter, but I'm not sure that it completely solves the problem. And I think, when we're discussing banning something that over 100 million Americans use, it's important to talk about the whys, right? No one relishes taking that away from the people that enjoy using it. But the problem is that we are very concerned about the ways that social media companies, this is not unique to TikTok, but social media companies collect vast amounts of data about Americans. And they've used that in combination with sophisticated artificial intelligence algorithms to make eerily accurate predictions of how that behavior is influenced. Right. And they can use that model to actually influence people's behavior. So that's really dangerous capability to have in hands of anyone. That includes U.S. companies, but it's particularly dangerous to have in the hands of foreign countries who could potentially use it to influence American opinions, which has happened in the past. We know it has happened. So it's not an unreasonable thing to be worried about. That has national security implications in addition to trying to protect the safety of Americans.
Do you think America can regulate algorithms without knowing the algorithm?
Well, it's funny you asked this. I had that exact question for the chairman today in the hearing. And the point I was making, because part of Project Texas is they are going to allow Oracle engineers to look at their algorithms and certify that they're free from foreign interference. But the problem is when you talk about artificial intelligence, the algorithm is not what matters. The algorithms are fairly simple. It's the design of a neural net and the way it's trained. What matters is the data sets, these huge sets of data that you use to train the algorithms, and then the output that you ask out of those algorithms. And that can be changed at any time. So that's the real danger here.
Do you think this algorithm, I had somebody say to me today, well, Instagram sort of essentially has essentially borrowed the TikTok algorithm for how Instagram Reels works. Is that your sense? Is this that, or is what TikTok's algorithm so proprietary that it is more effective than any other algorithm out there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And all of the algorithms are concerning. What's especially concerning with respect to TikTok is the possibility that foreign actors could be using that algorithm to influence the opinion of Americans. But, in general, Chuck, this illustrates the need for comprehensive federal data privacy protections.
Yes.
Because this concern is a concern with anyone that collects this much data about users and seeks to use that information to influence their behavior. So I really hope that Congress this year will enact a comprehensive digital data privacy law that takes that out of the hands of the states, creates one standard for everybody, protects Americans' privacy across the country to prevent this kind of data from being accumulated.
Do you think there's a...
Okay. So, first off, hi. Second off, we just talked about this guy on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, he's asking technical questions of the CEO. Now, he's a Republican, and so, there's always potential shenanigans with any member of the Republican Party. I don't trust. What up, Arun? I don't trust politicians. They're not there to be trusted, right? But this thing that he's talking about here,
hope that Congress this year will enact a comprehensive digital data privacy law that takes that out of the hands of the states, creates one standard for everybody, protects Americans' privacy across the country to prevent this kind of data from being accumulated.
Do you think there?
okay. If that's accurate, right? This is a Republican calling for a federalist. Yeah. No, I recognize the name. I caught some of a couple of their streams. If this is accurate, right? This is a federalist answer coming from a Republican. Now, I agree with a federal data privacy law, right? We have to understand what that might mean, what that might look like. Like I need the language, right? Because you could say whatever you want, but it's what's in the law. And this is the guy. He has a degree in artificial intelligence, a master's in artificial intelligence, so he has the technical knowledge, right? And he is a game developer, right? I can't remember the name offhand, like Fire something. Unprepared chump. One moment. Farsight Studios, right? And there is a strong chance that you've played some of their games. They've done some bowling games, NCAA for EA Sports, right? He is part of that company. He owns it. He founded it. He is of that kind of ilk. Now, because he's a Republican, he's probably for, like, I could look, but I would be confident we would see, like, market solutions, pro-capitalism, yeah. But this law being a federal answer to the situation is an impressive idea. Now, he's from California, so he might be like the same as Joe Manchin, right? He could be a right Democrat, left Republican, who just runs as a Republican because he can get elected in his area because of that. I don't know. I'm doing a whole lot of suppositions, but like some of the stuff coming out of his mouth is like earlier he talks about making it impossible for certain data to not be able to be accessed. There is no one can do that. No one can make. The only way to make data impossible to access is to put it on a single disk drive and then unplug and air gap that shit, right? like drop it in the ocean. If your shit is connected to the internet, then it is hackable. It is all hackable, right? It's just whether or not there's enough of a reason to do it. So, like, this guy has me, I don't know, like, could go either way. But I'm keeping an eye on him because he knows what he's talking about in the field. And it's a segue because TikTok is a Chinese company and China has a lot of influence in the area that we're talking about today. It's a nice segue into talking with Arun. So, Arun, whenever you're ready. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk about this guy some more. Yeah, we can run some more of the video. Since you asked so nicely.
There's a disclosure aspect that would be sufficient to you in lieu of a ban. So, we put warning labels on cigarettes. We decided not to ban cigarettes. We decided to go with warning labels. Warning, TikTok, when I download the app, if we had a warning label, TikTok is owned by a company that is influenced by the Chinese Communist Party. Be careful when you decide to put this on your phone. What say you?
That concretely, because 3 bills that do exactly what you just described passed out of the Energy and Commerce Committee in the House of Representatives 2 weeks ago. And I voted against them because I'll tell you what they did. One of them created a warning label for any app that was banned on federal devices, which includes TikTok. It's only TikTok right now. One of them created a warning label for any app that had data stored in the People's Republic of China. One of them created a warning label for an app published by any company that was either controlled by the PRC or the CPC or headquartered in the PRC. So the reason that I voted against them is I'm not a big fan of government warning labels. And I think if you're going to have one, you have to be very explicit about what you're warning against and what people ought to do about it. So, for example, if you're in the winter walking up some stairs, there's a sign that says, "Stairs may be slippery, please be careful." I got it. I understand what you're warning me about. I understand what I'm supposed to do about it. Tell me, warning, this app may store data in the People's Republic of China. That doesn't really give you any useful information.
So you think a ban is better than doing a warning label? I mean, because I go back to, we're all First Amendment people here. We're all we're a free society. China is not. So I struggle with this. Do you do a ban or do you warn people?
May not be available in your area, subject to terms and conditions. Your mileage may vary on whether or not this is a free country, but go off, King.
Of the effects of that this could do, right? Like, I guess, ideologically, where do you fall?
Well, I would certainly, I'm a First Amendment guy too, and I'm a proponent of, freedom and liberty. I think that to the extent that we can uphold those as principles, that always leads to better outcomes. So I would rather have a warning label than a ban. If you're going to have a warning label, it better be explicit about exactly the type of things that you're warning about. And if you're going to have a ban, it's only as a last resort. But as I said, the solution to this is not banning specific apps, because that's the problem. It's like squishing ants with your fingers, right? If there'll always be another ant that sprouts up somewhere else, and you can, someone will come out with a new app tomorrow that'll take the place of TikTok if we were to ban TikTok. So the real solution here is to get our arms around the bigger problem, which is this vast accumulation of.
Okay. I don't know how much of that. What up, Bipedal Meatbag? I don't know how much of that you can apply to this guy in particular. The majority of those those people, I definitely 100%. I'll endorse that. 100%. This guy seems to get it more. I'm not giving him a pass. I'm not giving him an endorsement. I'm just keeping an eye on him because he's closer to like if we have to have a Republican Party, this is right now apparently the kind of Republican I would like to have in that Republican Party, as opposed to the rest of them.
Of the data of Americans that's allowing this type of manipulative behavior.
Yeah, we've all been waiting for our privacy bill of rights. It is something I remember politicians in the late 90s talking about, Congressman, and here we are 30 years later. Anyway, Congressman Obernolte, Republican from California. Congressman, thank you. Appreciate it.
Great to see you, Chuck.
And this is NBC. This is not like Fox and shit. And you can see the obvious right-wing anti-China bias that is there. And I'm again, I'm no fan of China. all states are bastards. I have no love for states, okay? But yes, you're 100% correct that, like, and this is why, like, he makes the point about a federal data privacy law, right? What up, Miss Frizzle? There's a federal data privacy law. This would affect Facebook. This would affect Google. This would affect all of them potentially, right? Like, again, have to see the language. If I don't see the language, then it's all fucking fairy dust, right? We have to see the language, and then once we see the language, we can go ahead and, you know, make a conclusion. So yeah. Do 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 do. Oh my God, the Dan Crenshaw shit was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Now that yeah, Dan Crenshaw, let's find it. Obvious partisan hack.
Back, gentleman from Texas.
Gentleman from Texas. Do.
Chair recognizes for 5 minutes Mr. Crenshaw.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chu, for bringing Republicans and Democrats together. Appreciate that. I want to get right to the critical point of concern. So TikTok is able to collect massive amounts of personal data. We all know that. That means it could, if it desired, to use this data to influence narratives and trends, create misinformation campaigns, encourage self-destructive behavior, purposefully allow drug cartels to communicate freely and organize human and drug trafficking. Now, to be fair, all social media companies could do that.
Right.
It is only TikTok that is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. All these other social media companies are not. Mr. Chu, do you agree that TikTok is controlled by the CCP?
No.
People might want to do crimes, and yeah, they can use all social media to do that. However, one social media platform, yours, is controlled by communists. Do you agree with that? That they are controlled by communists?
No.
Okay, I thought you'd say that. Disagree, as you thought I might say.
Yes, by Peel Meatbag, 100%. Right, like. And this is why, like, a comprehensive federal data privacy law would be fucking awesome. But, you know, again, we have to see. And that's not what, like, if we were to play a drinking game in which the drink word was communist, you wouldn't have made it past the first 5 minutes and you'd already be unconscious on the floor.
Here's why I disagree. Your parent company is Byte.
Let me ask you a question. And then let me disagree with the answer.
Right?
That's correct.
It is correct. So, many of the workers who work at ByteDance, they're Communist Party members, right?
I wouldn't know.
Well, for example, the chief editor at ByteDance, Zhang Vuping, is the Communist Party secretary.
Shout out to Mr. Chu, right? Like, you know, I mean, he's a CEO, right? So let's you know, we're not buds, right? Like, he's still got to go to the bagel cutter, but by the same token, he can hang out for a while the line clears, all right? He's really trying, and he is dealing with I wanted to talk to Greg. Greg had to reschedule. We're looking at next week. But I watched Greg have a conversation with someone who shall remain nameless, and every so often, Greg got that same look in his eyes that Mr. Chu does when he's talking to these people, as they have no idea what they're talking about.
Secretary, correct?
He works on the Chinese business, not on TikTok.
Right. He works for ByteDance, the parent
He works on
company.
the Chinese business.
Right. The parent company of TikTok.
The Chinese business is called.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, whenever you're ready, man. You want to go now? You're ready now? We can stop watching this. It was just relevant and topical. Yeah. Sorry that the screen keeps going blank. Whenever I switch over to Discord, it's just blanking it out for some reason. See? Just like that.
Called Douyin.
Yeah, but it's all associated with ByteDance,
What are you doing?
right?
Everything is breaking.
Back, gentleman from Texas.
No,
Chair
no,
recognizes for
no,
5 minutes,
no.
Mr.
You'd say that. I disagree, as you thought I might say. Agree that TikTok is
Yeah.
controlled by the CCP?
No.
Okay, I thought you said that. I disagree,
Nope.
as you thought I might say. Here's why I disagree. Your parent company is ByteDance, right?
That's correct.
It is correct. So many of the workers who work at ByteDance, they're Communist Party members, right?
I wouldn't know.
Well, I think, for example, the chief editor at ByteDance, Zhang Vuping, is the Communist Party secretary, correct?
He works on the Chinese business, not on TikTok.
Right. He works for ByteDance, the parent
He works
company.
on the Chinese business.
Right. The parent company of TikTok.
The Chinese business is called Douyin.
Yeah, but it's all associated with ByteDance.
Okay, it's just crashing out there for some reason.
Businesses.
Right.
They are.
You all report to ByteDance. Everybody's part of ByteDance. Okay? And do you know of any other employees that work for ByteDance that are part of the Chinese Communist Party?
Like I said, they are. ByteDance owns Chinese businesses and they operate in China.
You don't know how many, but you acknowledge many must be card-carrying members of the CCP, right?
They're in the Chinese business, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the CCP holds what's called a golden share in ByteDance that allows the CCP to control one board seat in ByteDance. That's publicly
That's
reported.
not correct.
It's not
That's-
correct. It's
no,
been
it's not
publicly
correct.
reported. They admitted to it.
You can on our website we have updated it so we can give people more transparent information on this. They have a share in a subsidiary that is only for the Chinese business. It has nothing to do with TikTok, and it's for the purposes of content licensing in China.
So there's not an internal CCP committee, which is
No, but you're wrong. No. Let me ask this question in a different way. Okay, you're wrong. No, well, what if this thing that I want to believe? No, but you're wrong. All right, my man. Enough from Dan Crenshaw. We'll talk more about this on Monday. Because I'm sure some more analysis will have come out at that point in time. Check. What is going on? I cannot hear you. Oh, something happened. Wow, this is a mess. Apologies. 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 I wish to give you what you want, Miss Frizzle. I wish to give you what you want. Like, I don't know why I'm all jacked up. How do I live without you? I want to know. How do I live without you? Not that it matters because I still can't hear him, so, but that's another technical issue. How do I ever survive? Okay, we got that fixed. We'll get rid of this. So let's see if I can figure out why I can't hear Arun. Okay, see face. Face is showing up. Got to swap the things. And why are you not exporting out to Arun? If you can hear me, I can't hear you. But that might be on my end. I'm verifying that it's not on my end. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. I corrected that. And still nothing. You can hear me. Can you hear me through Discord or through my stream? Hold up. Hold up.
Stream.
There it is.
Wait,
No,
can you hear
it's yeah, it's just every time, like something will happen for no good reason.
Yeah.
And you gotta reset all your shit.
Yeah. It's a hassle whenever I stream. It's great. You can hear me now, right? Chat can hear me now?
I can hear you. Chat, can you hear him?
Okay. Okay, cool. Probably just gonna take out my glasses for a second because I forgot to clean them. So it's like really foggy and it's really dusty. Okay. What's up? It's been a while since we did this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good
It's
to
been
see
a
your
while
face.
since we did this. Yeah. It's been a while, yeah, exactly. And a lot happened this past week, actually. There are a couple of big news items that actually happened this week, but I saw that you were talking about the TikTok company. And I'll tell you, I'll straight up give you, you and I are probably on the same page when it comes to this because we usually are on the same page.
Right.
When it comes to just politics in general. But yeah, like what was it? Obviously like obviously like the people in Congress right now when they're questioning, was it Shochu?
Chao Chu.
Shao Chu. Okay. I just didn't know how to pronounce it.
Right.
Uh, uh, it's obvious nonsense. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like when you talk to like your average like Chinese person, right? Like, they're not gonna be like it's just like it's like asking like a random Chinese person, like, "Oh, are you a CCP member?" Huh? And it's like, he's fucking CEO, dude. What's wrong with you? Like,
Right.
what's wrong with you? Like, you fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
Like imagine like imagine China being communist. Like, imagine China actually being communist. That'd be wild.
And it's
You
one
know?
of those things. Is like, okay, you live in, you live in a one-party state. Are you a member of that party? Yeah, probably. Right? Like, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not the gotcha you thought it was, dude. You know.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, they live in a one-party state. Like, oh yeah. Like, they're gonna join literally the most popular party and not like one of the 7 other approved parties, like, that are basically insignificant in China, like, that are basically in coalition with the current CPC.
Right.
Like, of course, yeah, like, it's ridiculous. Like, but there were people in Hassan's chat, and I was watching Hassan's chat, that were basically saying, like, that were asking Hassan, why are you shitting on China? Hassan.
Right.
They were asking Hassan why he was shitting on China.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys realize that China is capable of doing very bad things. They're all like, you understand that China is literally one of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, right? Like, they're not like they're a superpower. They're the second largest superpower. Like, you want like there are lots of motherfuckers that are literally incapable of understanding, like, yo, China is also like, they're trying to be like the USA. Like, they're trying to expand their power. Like, they're also a burgeoning empire, and that's what capital does to
Right.
a country. That's
Yeah.
what accumulation of power in one place does to any fucking country.
Right. If you want to do stuff, you have to accumulate resources. And
Precisely.
if you have trade in order to get those resources as opposed to just coming and taking them, then you're going to leverage the power of your state to get those resources at a more reasonable price. This is what states do.
Yeah, precisely. Like, China literally invaded India, like, in the 60s. Like, China literally attacked India in the 60s.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, China's never invaded any other country. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Like, but like, obviously, like, there's when people talk about China, people like lose their shit one way or the other. Liberals here in the US lose their shit about, like, oh, well, China's like the worst thing to ever happen to this planet, and we need to make sure that America, like, they'll drink the Kool-Aid of like America is like the protector, the savior of the world, which is like, no.
Right.
America's done the most damage out of any. Actually, America is in the running for Britain. It's in the running with Britain to for the most fucked up country on the planet.
Right.
It's in the running for Britain. So, but like, yeah, China's very capable of like doing fucked up things. Like, what are you talking about? They also sold arms to Sri Lanka. They also sold arms to a literal fascist genocidal country in Sri Lanka.
Right.
Like, just the same, by the way, the very same country that the Americans also trained. So yeah, how's that like America versus China divide working out for you?
Right. Right.
It's not. Like, it's a ridiculous notion. Countries always act in countries will always act, especially given neoliberal global capitalism, they'll always act in whatever financial interest, whatever capital interest that they have. So China, for being a quote unquote revolutionary communist country, was more than willing to do business with literal fascists. So, like, literal, like, we're talking actual fascists, like, straight up, like I don't know if you saw the tweet that I just posted, right? Or a couple, like, it was once, yeah, it was like I don't remember which one. Yeah, there's a one tweet where it was like, Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists try not to be openly genocidal in the comment section. They're like, yeah, no, Sri Lanka is our land. Get the fuck out of here. Like, we need to purge you guys of our land.
Right.
Like, so those are the motherfuckers. Like, they're out on Facebook saying like, yeah, no, we need to purge. Sri Lanka is for the Sinhalese. Like, we need to purge Sri Lanka of the Tamils and the Muslims. Like, this has always been like, Jaffna is Sinhalese. What are you talking about? So we need to purge you guys of it. Those are the motherfuckers that both China and America gave weapons to. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and it's the same American playbook that, you know, leftists are upset about, is what happened to the Native Americans in, you know, what eventually became the United States. This is the same move, right? Like, let's exterminate these people who are on our land. Fuck them if they lived here first. And so if you're mad about the one thing, you should be mad about the other thing.
Yeah, they're also doing the same thing with the Uyghurs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're doing the exact same thing with the Uyghurs in China, the Uyghurs in China. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, was it Tibet? How's Tibet doing? Like, you know, China.
Tibet is like, I mean, the thing is, it doesn't matter which province you take. Their leader is Han Chinese.
Right.
Yeah, and when you ask a lot of these guys, like, oh, what is your take on the moment you say like, oh yeah, China annexed Tibet, the immediate counter is like, oh yeah, well, Tibet was a backwards, like, feudalistic state. Yeah, no one's defending the Dalai Lama at all.
Right.
No one's defending the Dalai Lama, but it's kind of racist of you to think that the Tibetans couldn't have developed socialism on their own and they needed the help of the Chinese.
Right, and it's like, so you're okay with invasions as long as you don't like the people on the other side, right? Like, that's what
or
it
if you
comes down
think
to.
lesser of the people, like, you might tolerate them, but you certainly think lesser of them, for sure.
Right. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
So, you had something in particular you wanted to talk about today.
A couple of things, actually. So, I don't know if you saw this. I talked about it a little bit earlier. I'll be going more into depth about it tomorrow.
Hold on. I'm sorry for this. You can, my son's calling me, but you can talk to chat.
Yeah, no worries. What's up, chat?
Yeah.
What's up, all Miss Frizzle? We're gonna be talking about kind of something huge. Like, this is like this is quite literally. Have you read Killing Hope? I've not. What is it about? U.S. and military CIA intervention since World War II. Fires are brutal, ignoble. Oh, is it about like the World War? Is it about like about the CIA interventions? Yeah. Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about this book. Yeah, you have Angola, Brazil, Cambodia, Chile, Congo, Cuba, Dominican Republic, East Timor. They've also, I remember the Pancasila in Indonesia, and again, I'm speaking way out of my depth here. I don't know too much about Indonesian politics, other than the fact that the Indonesians are literally doing ethnic cleansing of the Papuans. They're quite literally occupying native indigenous West Papuan land. Other than that, I don't know too much about Indonesian politics, other than the fact that, like, there's an entire group of people that they've colonized, that Indonesia has colonized. And it's a holdover from the Dutch. But they killed a lot of. I know that. I'm also familiar with the fact that the Indonesian government, especially I think it was under Sukarno or Suharto, they killed a shit ton of communists. Oh, Sukarno, yeah. Yeah, it was Sukarno. But yeah, 1953 is obvious. Like they did a coup of Mohammad Mossadegh in Iran. Uh, unedited versions: Haiti, Indonesia, Iraq, the American Empire. Yeah, I might have to get this. There's a book that I recommend reading. I haven't read through it entirely yet. Let me try and get it. Let me try and get the name of it. There's a book called A Fleeting Moment in My Country: The Last Years of the LTTE De facto State. It's a fascinating book. I can try and get the. Oh, what the fuck? Where is this? There's a book. I'm going to just put it in here. So many books on my list. Throw this on your list. Throw this on your list. War crimes and crimes against humanity in Sri Lanka. There's another one right here. What is this? Can I get the actual link to this? Yeah. What up, Smoothie Poo? What's up, dude? What? Them sad Sri Lanka, yeah. Yeah, dude. Florida GOP's new anti-trans bill could be so extreme it could ban treatment for breast cancer. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Fucking wild. I'm just reading shit on Twitter. All good? What spiked the conflict between the Sinhalese and the Tamils in Sri Lanka apart from Black July? Oh boy. That's a long story.
Apologies for that.
No, you good. You're good. That's a long fucking story, Smoothie Poo. Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
That's a long story, dude. That I'm probably not going to talk about all that much, but we good, right?
Yeah.
You good? Everything good on your end?
I have a bunch of people in my house, and they are being people, and sometimes it's problematic because I'm trying to do something other than deal with their shit and so on and so forth. So right now I'm okay.
Okay. Well, if you ever need to take a break, if you need to like leave, just let me know. And we'll cut it short.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I appreciate that, but
Yeah. So where were we? Oh yeah, there's this. So there's this one thing that happened recently. That's kind of a big thing. That's kind of huge.
mhm.
They in India. They just arrested Rahul Gandhi. Now, the reason that's huge, the reason that's big news is that Rahul Gandhi is quite literally the leader of the opposition.
Okay. The opposition, as in,
Against the BJP right now.
he's with Congress, right?
He is with Congress. They
Okay.
literally arrested the Congress leader.
Yeah, that's
Like
wild.
they literally threw him in jail. The reason that's huge is that is such a high profile figure that you wouldn't expect. Like you would so imprisoning political opposition. Yes, that is literally what happened. Yeah. And the reason, so the context behind this is the BJP has been pursuing defamation charges against Rahul Gandhi for a speech that he did in 2019, where he literally basically called out the BJP on their open corruption and engagement in hyper-capitalist business practices, and basically kind of the same stuff that you would see here in the United States.
Right.
So they locked him up for that. And now he's set to serve a 2-year sentence. A 2-year sentence. The highest.
He just got arrested and he's already been sentenced?
Yeah. No. They sentenced him and now they're like he's going to jail.
Okay.
Yeah, they finally delivered a verdict on.
Okay, I got you.
So they delivered a verdict on his sentence, and then now they went and arrested him basically, and now they invalidated his seat. They now he's no longer a member of parliament either.
Okay.
So,
And in this case, given the political structure of India, that means that the president can put someone in his seat? Do I have that correct?
believe so, yes.
Okay, so yeah, this is straight up removing a political opponent and replacing the lackey. This is straight fascist kind of stuff.
Yeah. This is sliding into fascism. Now I'll tell you one thing. There's one of two possibilities here, because what everyone was hyping up Donald Trump to be everyone was talking about oh, how come all the thieves have Modi as the surname? Yeah. That's basically what he said. He called all the people in power, because there's another dude named Modi that is aligned with Adani. Or there's another a politician named Modi that is also a BJP politician, right? So that's the reason that all of the thieves, that's why he made that comment.
Sure.
And that's what got him arrested, right? That's what got him in trouble. And this was back in 2019. This was a little while ago, right? So, but I will say this, right? So as much as we love to clown on Fox News and we love to clown on the right wingers here for hyping up Donald Trump's arrest and being oh, if Donald Trump gets arrested, he'll be considered a martyr. That's true. That's very, very true. And in this case, the fact that the leader of the opposition has been arrested means that Congress now has a fire under their ass.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a reason to go aggressive. They have a reason to go super aggressive on the BJP now, because now they can be oh, look, they literally imprisoned us. Look at us. Look at us. Right now, what I think is what is going to happen as a result of this is kind of hard to tell at the moment. And the reason is BJP has such a strong ground level game across India that it is very hard to beat BJP.
Mm-hmm.
It is very hard to beat them in the states that they're very strong in. The one exception to the rule is Himachal Pradesh, where they just where they lost, right? They lost.
Right.
But the BJP's popularity was beginning to dwindle a little bit. In the Northeast, it's a bit different of a story, because they want stability, basically, right? They want whatever they think is going to bring them stability, and they don't want to rock the boat.
Right.
So they'll vote for whoever happens to be in power, right? Because they're border states, right? But what is very interesting is that Karnataka is coming up. The fact that Rahul Gandhi was arrested and thrown in jail has made him a martyr. So it's one of two possibilities. One is the BJP has just overplayed their hand, and they are going to reap what they sow. They're going to reap the repercussions relatively soon, or sooner than later,
Mhm.
because they overplayed their hand, and now they've given Congress enough fire to do that. That's one. They were way overconfident. Or two, either the BJP, or two, they did this because they knew they could, which is even scarier.
Right.
Right? They did this because they knew they could do it and get away with it, which is scary. Because there's a possibility they're right for one of two reasons. One, like I said, BJP has a very strong ground game. Right? That's part of the reason that Congress. That's part of the reason why that's part of the reason why like defeating the BJP isn't easy. Especially the upcoming Karnataka election, like that's happening next month, right?
Mm-hmm.
This light is shining on me.
Is it happening next month or it's happening in May?
No, it's happening it's happening next month.
Okay.
So what's happening is because of the upcoming election next month, what's going to happen is going
before
to be
May. I'm sorry.
Sorry, what?
What I read is that the election was to be held before May, so that would be April. That makes total sense.
Yeah. So it's going to happen next month, and it's going to be a bloodbath.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be an absolute bloodbath because the last time BJP contested Karnataka, they literally stole the election, by the way.
Right.
They stole it. But the thing that's ultra scary about Rajiv Gandhi going to jail is that if such a high-profile politician can go to jail, if they can invalidate that person's seat very quickly,
mm-hmm.
that dude is the leader of the opposition. He's a well-known politician.
Right.
Imagine what they can do to your average Joe.
Right. And this is like, to a certain extent, the Karnataka election is going to be like pretty definitive on the direction that India is going to go, right? Like, because it's either going to be a situation.
It's not going to be super definitive, but what it'll do is.
I'm talking in light of the current events with them, arresting the head of the Congress. If the people and the Congress don't act within this short span of time and get that election in their favor, then they've said that go ahead, arrest us. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, that's basically it. They have to clean up their act. Yeah,
that is wild, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing that's scary about it is I now have to watch what I say about the BJP. Now it's basically confirmed. If you're clouded enough, because originally the thought was if you're clouded enough, then maybe you'll slip by. No, doesn't matter how clouded you are.
Right.
Doesn't matter. It does not matter. This was the main opposition politician in the country, and they still locked him up.
Yeah, I would say that I think they are confident. I can't imagine that they are overconfident, right? Like they are intentionally laying down a gauntlet that they think they can do this. They are pushing this move. They said, we're going full on fascist and this is our move and our declarative statement. We're going to arrest this person. Now it is up to the people and the opposition parties to do something.
Yeah.
And I guess it's too soon to tell whether or not they're going to. Until the election happens, maybe we might see some signs in the lead up, with campaigning, but
The thing is, if there is a state where, if there's a large state where the BJP could lose,
mhm,
it's Karnataka,
right.
because Bomai's popularity is down through the tank. It's down through the toilet, right? Bomai's popularity is down through the toilet, and what's his name? The opposition candidate for Congress that's representing Congress, not Kumaraswamy. What's his name? Siddaramaiah.
Yeah.
Siddaramaiah could come in and could come and take it. He's a very shrewd politician, and he's won. I mean, he's won he's won it before. He's literally won the chief ministerial seat before,
Mhm.
right? So he has the capability of winning it, right? But it's a matter of how good is the ground game in Karnataka. That's one, and two, how effective is Congress going to be there? But I think at the end of the day, at least temporarily, this arresting of Rahul Gandhi, this is going to definitely light a fire under the Congress Party for sure. Like, it, at the very least, it's going to, like, because you've painted now the opposition candidate as the opposition leader as a martyr at the
Right.
very least. So now the ball is literally in Congress's court. If they flub this, then it's over. If they manage, and I would not put it past Congress to somehow bungle this.
Right.
I
And it-
would not put it past Congress to bungle this. But yes,
It
if
would make sense based on what you're saying. That if I know I could lose, right? Like I'm in the seat of the BJP, and I know I could lose, then I got to go all or nothing. I got to go all in at this point in time and try and get that fascist wheel moving, right? Like, I mean, that's really, because if I don't, like you said previously, if they lose Karnataka, then they're locked out of the South, basically. And then that's going to act as a position.
at an electoral level, yeah. I mean,
Right.
they're not totally locked out of the South, but
Right.
yeah, they won't have any power. I mean, yeah, they won't have any, they won't have power in the South,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're mostly relying on their ground game, which is what won them in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which Congress has not done a good job of competing against.
Right.
Congress has not done a good job of doing grassroots competition against the BJP at all. Corruption is key when it comes to politics, Sag. I mean, that's just a function of capitalism. Like, corruption is just a function of capitalism. That's how that works. But yeah, I mean, it's too. I mean, we'll see how well this translates into ground level game.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the most important thing, because there are strongholds in the in Karnataka for the BJP. The BJP has Karnataka, like they have electoral strongholds in Karnataka, right? So like in the coastal regions of Karnataka, they have it's a stronghold, right? In sort of the central regions and even the northern regions of Karnataka, it's still a stronghold, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing is, like, it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen whether or not, like, they can use the opportunity that they've been given to actually, combat the BJP in Karnataka.
Right.
If they can, and if they topple BJP and they manage to gain power, that's it's a matter of messaging here.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, Congress having to do the right thing by actually doing, monetary schemes and providing actual promises to, electoral promises and following through on them. That's important, right?
Right.
That's like actually helping address the material conditions or alleviate the material conditions. That's incredibly important. But if you're just talking about it from, like Rahul Gandhi lost his MP post, seen that? We're talking about that actually.
Abrams
Where-
just got here. To be fair.
Yeah. We're actually just talking about that. So buckle up. So to reiterate, like what I said is what I basically just now they're pleading president. Yeah, the president's not going to the president's not going to pardon Rahul Gandhi. Are you crazy? Like they're not pleading. Like the president is literally Draupadi Murmu, like literal BJP operative. They're not gonna. She's not going to fucking free Rahul Gandhi. They're not gonna. Yeah, she's not going to free Rahul Gandhi. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, but what I said is like this is a fire that like this is motivation. This is the best way I can describe it. Like this is motivation for Congress to literally clean up their act.
Mhm.
If they do, then then there's a possibility that BJP can be fought. If not, they've demonstrated that no, they'll literally let these guys roll over. They'll literally roll over for the BJP, and that's it. That's the end of that.
Right. Yeah, like this is kind of an all or nothing election over there, or at least for the immediate time being.
Yeah, like the other thing to keep in mind is like if the thing is that now that Rahul Gandhi is going to jail, and this is another, like I would say this is another opportunity for Congress to get their shit together because Rahul Gandhi was the face of the party, right? Now they're going to have to replace Rahul Gandhi at some point. Who's that person going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be someone that is, because again, when the BJP came to power, when Modi came to power, they thoroughly discredited Rahul Gandhi's electoral chances because he's a Gandhi. Since his great grandfather, every generation of his family has been prime minister at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, if not Rahul Gandhi, who the hell is going to replace him, right? And Congress has the opportunity to make the right decision in the 2024 election. They have the opportunity to do it.
Right.
But will they actually do the right thing? Will they actually do their due diligence? Will they actually come through on that? No, I don't think he's going to jail. This is like an act. Murmu will pardon what happened in the past. No. BJP has literally every reason to arrest Rahul Gandhi. And by the way, even if it's an act, even if it is an act, it's still a fire that lights. That's still it's still motivation for the Congress Party, nonetheless. Do you see what I mean? Like, even if it is, like, let's just say for the sake of argument, it's an act. It's still motivation for the Congress Party because the mere thought that they might get arrested by the courts for saying something wrong about the BJP, right? It's still motivation for Congress. So whether or not it's an act is irrelevant, but in terms of like electoral politics, in terms of like body politics, it's irrelevant. But the reason Rahul Gandhi's arrest is relevant to your average person is you got to be super careful about the way you talk about the BJP.
Right.
You have to be very careful about the way you talk about the BJP.
Because
otherwise, you got to be. Otherwise, you'll be arrested.
Yeah, like what he said is comparable to like what Republicans have said about like the Biden crime family. It's in our politics, it wouldn't be that big a deal. So that's like a huge move to play in response to a relatively innocuous statement, right?
No, like if by that standard, Hassan would have gotten life.
Right.
Like by that standard, Hassanabi would have gotten life for his 9/11 comment.
Right.
Like that's the kind of severity we're dealing with here, right? He literally just called Modi a criminal. That's it. That's all he did.
Right.
And he's going to jail for that. That's dangerous. That's insanely dangerous.
Insanely. Absolutely.
Like that is like a like it is, you have to watch what you say about the government at that point. Like again, but by the way, this isn't new, right? Again, the significance of Rahul Gandhi getting like it's not new for journalists to get arrested in India. Like
Right.
that's not like that. It's not anything like that. It's not like journalists haven't been arrested or murdered outright in India. No, they have.
But this is like the highest ranking member of the opposition. There's a
Yes.
whole other level of suppression that we're talking about.
Yes. Like the fact that it is the top level like opposition candidate.
Yeah.
Think about how much political power this dude's a Gandhi. This dude comes from a political dynasty. Imagine the privilege and power that this dude holds.
Right.
And he's still getting arrested. Like he's still getting fucking arrested. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason that like Stan Swamy literally died in prison. Like this random like 75-year-old activist, like old like grandfather, literally died in prison from disease. Like I forgot what it was. It was like I forgot exactly why he died or how he died. But they locked him up on suspicion of him being a Maoist, and he died in prison. They just recently let out Siddiq Kapan, who went to the state of Uttar Pradesh to literally cover a gang rape of a Dalit woman. Right? He's a journalist that was locked up for the coverage of, a sexual assault and murder.
Right.
He was thrown in jail for a year and a half. Right? Tista Setalwad was thrown in prison because she was an activist on behalf of the victims of the 2002 Gujarat riots. She was thrown in jail, and she was just let out last year. There are still people in prison that are activists. Umar Khalid is still in prison, right? You still have people in prison in India that are locked up on UAPA, on the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, right? You have people that are still locked up in prison. So this is not anything new in terms of your average person, but this just sets the ceiling on like how much clout or how much power you need to get away with it. With speaking out against Modi, this just raises that ceiling. That's all it does. It just basically says, no, even if you're an opposition candidate, you're going to jail. If you say something we don't like, or we think that we can leverage the law against you, we're going to do that.
Holy shit. Like I just brought up the UAPA, and it's like the most recent amendment to the law, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Amendment Act 2019, has made it possible for the Union government to designate individuals as terrorists without following any formal judicial process.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's dangerous. Yeah. Yeah. Me literally talking about Indian politics could literally get me branded as a terrorist, by the way. Just like, they can do that.
That is
UAPA
wild.
the UAPA is one of the most draconian laws that India has.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's saying something. He's Smoothie Poo's just being a juicer right now. He's just being a juicer. God, I love him. Dude, after I discovered him, I was like, oh, this dude needs to blow up. Like, this dude needs to, like, fucking, like, get famous. I swear to God.
Right on.
Like, dude is fucking entertaining. He's entertaining to talk to. He's fucking amazing. Yeah. Like, this dude's hilarious. Like, this dude's hilarious. Yeah, that's basically the situation that's going on in India right now. No, like it's fucking dangerous to be a journalist in India. It's very fucking dangerous to be a journalist in India.
Yeah, this is what I'm just skimming this article is like the UAPA is criticized for its low conviction rate, which is around 2%. According to the data shared by the Union government in 2016 to 2020, 5,000 cases, 24,000 people accused, only 212 have been convicted, 385 were acquitted, and the 97.5% of the rest of them are still in prison awaiting trial.
Yeah,
Because that's what this is for. This is not to
this is
try
to lock
people.
up political prisoners. Yeah,
100%. This is exactly how
to
you
lock
do
up
one of those.
political prisoners. That's literally it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's also MISA, the Maintenance of Internal Security Act, which basically says
That just sounds fashy.
Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Indian law enforcement agencies very broad powers, indefinite preventative detention of individuals, search and seizure of property without warrants, and wiretapping. It like this, it's no longer in power, right? It's no longer available. But when, like, this is why, like, another reason why people hate Congress, right?
Uh-huh.
Because Indira Gandhi was fucking brutal, right? She literally passed this act and basically said, "Hey, we can just like jail you indefinitely whenever we feel like." Just like we're gonna throw you in prison whenever we feel like. And we're just gonna steal your shit. And we're gonna wiretap you. Like, by the way, there's a guy called Atal Bihari Vajpayee, right? Oh, if you look at some of the people that were in prison under the Maintenance of Internal Security Act, you'll notice some people that are there. You'll notice some people that are actually there. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, that's another prime minister of that is a later prime minister of India, by the way. Yeah, the current chief minister of Tamil Nadu and his father, who was the former chief minister of Tamil Nadu, was locked up under this law. Like, again, like they locked up they just locked up they locked up everyone. Like, what was it? Indira Gandhi was absolutely fucking brutal. This is Indira Gandhi is Rahul Gandhi's grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Lalu, yeah. Lalu Prasad Yadav. Yep. Like this, like it's just like this is fucking brutal as shit.
Yeah.
So
and so this is not new stuff. Like this is a prime example of how like fascist laws get in there and just drive you, your policies in a fascist direction.
Exactly. Yeah, the Indian, Indira Gandhi was absolutely fucking brutal. And yeah, like you've had like she also like committed a ethnic cleansing of the Sikhs of India in Delhi. Like the very same person that passed this law, the Maintenance of Internal Security Act, it was under her, both grandma and father. Yeah. So both Rahul Gandhi's grandmother, Indira Gandhi, and his father were killed in a bombing. So his father, Rajiv Gandhi, was assassinated by a suicide bomb from the LTTE. No. His grandmother was shot to death. Excuse me. No. That's wrong. His grandmother was shot to death. Yeah, no. His grandmother was shot to death, and then his father was blown up by a suicide bomb. Just the reaction on your face is like, oh shit. We're talking about this shit, aren't we? Like
I remember hearing about Indira Gandhi, like back in the day, and like the name Gandhi evokes a certain concept here in the United States, right? Like we
I'm sorry.
what up?
That is,
What did I do? What happened?
no. Smoothie said something
Oh.
whack. He he said father went Diwali. Oh, it's so fucked up. Dude, dude, you're gonna get arrested, dude. Stop. You live in India, you're gonna get arrested.
Oh yeah,
Stop.
be careful. Do not get do not let this conversation be the reason you get arrested. That would make me very sad.
No, we light firecrackers in Diwali. And his father was killed by a suicide bomb.
Oh, that's dark.
Yeah.
That is dark.
Yeah. That's the craziest way I've ever seen anyone refer to that.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, where were we before this? I'm sorry.
We were talking about how like Gandhi, like Mahatma Gandhi, evokes a certain concept here in the United States of like he was the old skinny Indian dude who fought down the British Empire like single-handedly, like that.
Yeah,
You know,
that's not at all what happened.
right. And then like so every time I hear the Gandhi, there's still that, you know, connection to, you know, like I think of the Ben Kingsley movie, right? Like that's, you know, like I watched that in high school. So it's like, but the vibe is completely different, you know, like you said.
Yeah, this family has no connection to Mahatma Gandhi.
Right, but the name
No connection, it's just a coincidence.
Right.
Like Feroz Gandhi was the guy's name. That's why. Like actually no. His actually they changed actually okay, so the funny thing is they actually changed his name. Like they changed like this dude's grandfather, Feroz Gandhi, literally changed their last name to look like Gandhi.
Right.
Like that's why. Like that's why it looks like that. Violence against violence is ahimsa though. Okay. But yeah, that's no, like first of all, Gandhi was a racist. That's one.
Oh yeah.
Gandhi was a massive racist. Like he was like fucking crazy racist towards like the South Africans, like the native South Africans, like the Zulus, Xhosas, and Vendas and people. Like he was fucking racist. Wildly racist. So that was one. And he was also a massive casteist because he basically hated Ambedkar. He like was like, no, the caste system still needs to exist, but like everyone is equal in their own caste or whatever, some nonsense. It's like everyone's caste is equal, guys. Like we can't have like you know, we still need categories, but let's make those categories equal, guys. That's basically what Gandhi's proposal was, which is nonsense.
Right.
Gandhi's a Bania caste name, yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? But yeah, that's like so. The fact that Rahul Gandhi got arrested is pretty wild. It's very wild to say the least. And then that's like one thing that really came out of India. And then the other big news that came out of Sri Lanka is that, and you may have come across this, Sri Lanka finally secured an IMF loan.
Right.
So what does this mean? Some shit in Sri Lanka is going to get privatized. Right. And in this case, they're basically going to restructure, like they're going to basically privatize state-owned enterprises, and they're going to privatize the national airline. to basically restructure to basically fulfill this loan.
Right. Because IMF loans are notorious for doing exactly that, privatizing things. And then
Yeah,
previously,
we need listen. We need our venture capital firms here in the West. They need to make money off of they need to make money off of your resources. So
right. Yeah, they talk about how coercive the Communist Chinese or the Chinese Communist Party would be with TikTok, but we're not going to talk about how coercive the IMF is on the daily everywhere.
no, the reason the financial crisis happened in the first place is because of the IMF.
Right.
Like the long-term damage that the IMF did is the reason that the long-term damage that the IMF did is the long-term reason for the economic crisis that happened in Sri Lanka.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, the Chinese loan, the Chinese banks that loaned to the Rajapaksa family definitely exacerbated like the already ongoing economic crisis.
Right.
It already exacerbated that stuff. But they've basically been privatizing the country. Sri Lanka is quite literally the name of Sri Lanka. Get this, is Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka.
Sure.
That's the name of Sri Lanka. That's the name of Sri. Yeah, makes sense, right?
Yeah. Just throw that
Absolutely.
socialist in there anywhere you want. It doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just it's socialist. They said it's socialist. So they're going to introduce income taxes for professionals, which they should have fucking done, I think. They also lowered taxes across the board, which also exacerbated the economic crisis in Sri Lanka.
Right.
So they need to raise taxes on the politicians that literally benefited from most of this.
Mm-hmm.
They need to raise taxes on the oligarchs in Sri Lanka that benefited from most of this. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you have to raise taxes on the people with money, because the people without money, they're already paying you what they can.
Yeah. Now people were celebrating the IMF loans in the street, which again, I would not be it's anything to it's like a damned if you do. I mean, I wouldn't be again, I don't blame Sri Lanka for cozying up to China at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't blame them at all for cozying up to China, but I think a lot of people need to realize that China is also not this wonderful country either that that is completely altruistic and that is completely ideologically minded, or that is actually developing socialism and therefore no criticism allowed and therefore we don't need more anti-communism or whatever, some shit like that. That sort of dumbass talking point.
Right.
No. China is a burgeoning empire. They're trying to take America's spot.
Right.
They're going to at some point. They're trying to take America's spot. They're going to. Now, does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? No, it doesn't. Right? I mean, it matters insofar as they are also potentially going to do imperialist shit that maybe not to the same extent that America does, or maybe it does. Who knows? But they are going to do very imperialist shit the same way that America did.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, that's what empires do.
Right. They need the resources. It's not. I don't give a fuck what your stated policy is regarding your government or anything else. If you are going to have a modern country, you need resources. Sometimes those resources belong to other people, and you will flex your power in one way or another to get those resources. It's just how it works.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, you're going to try and flex your economic power on another country.
At the very least, you're economic. You
Yeah, you're gonna try
China
and
China has other kinds of power too, right? Like
yes.
if
Yeah, I
if
mean, the only reason I said economic power is because they're like, aside from like the Indian invade, like the invasion of Arunachal Pradesh, or like certain other the annexation of Tibet, like that sort of thing, right?
Mhm.
Aside from that, like, uh, aside from that, uh, like China. I mean, again, China hasn't done the same kind of damage that America has.
100%, 100%. This is not like we are not equating these two countries. They're it's a difference in degree that we're talking about, right? Like China when it flexes its military might, it does so within its immediate sphere of influence, where the United States is a
They'll do,
worldwide kind of thing.
yeah, they'll do it with Taiwan, for example.
Right.
They'll do it with Taiwan. They will do it on. They will try and they will. They might do it with India, for example, or they might do it with Nepal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oh yeah, I saw another. It's completely irrelevant. I'm just gonna go back into Hassan's chat for a second. I saw one dude dunk on like the "How dare you criticize China" chatter. Like, how dare you? Like, China's actually doing good for its people. Like, how dare you do that? It's like, oh yeah, that communist country China, who literally funded the Filipino government, or who
Mm-hmm.
literally funded the Philippines government against the Maoists.
Right.
Yeah, that communist country China, got it.
Yeah.
That Maoist country China, excuse me. That Maoist country China, like the country run by Mao Zedong thought, that literally funded a government's military. They also did it in Myanmar too. It's not just the Philippines. They did it in Myanmar too. They also did it in India as well.
Mm-hmm.
They also funded the Indian government against the Maoists in their own country.
It's weird, right? It's
Weird. It's
kind of
almost,
weird.
China is investing heavily in Africa. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's China just happens to be the lesser of two evils in those particular
The potential and the
circumstances.
peril here
But again, just because you're the lesser of two evils doesn't mean like you're not evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that, again, everyone is invested heavily in Africa, going all the way back to whenever the fuck.
I mean, it's not even invested. They just investing is like bearing the lead. Like, they want to exploit it. They want to exploit Africa.
Right, because they have the most undeveloped resources in places where, like, a lot of people don't give a fuck if you fuck around in. I'll call it what it is, right? Like, if some shit happens in Ethiopia, Americans don't care, Europeans don't care, right?
Yeah.
Shit happens all the time, and
In Sri Lanka, no one gives a shit.
in Sri Lanka, no one gives a shit. Like, so those are the places where you want to exploit their resources for your benefit by exercising that power. And it's just all states are bastards. 100%. I'll say it 100% of the time. All states are bastards by their nature. It's what they have to be.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Where is that tweet that I'm looking for? Where is it? There's a tweet that basically, okay, so there's sort of a controversy that was happening with regards to we didn't talk about this story either. We didn't talk about this story. Oh shit. We didn't talk about this story either on this channel, but I talked about it on my stream.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about it I showed Gremla this. Basically the British, British-backed militia or British-backed mercenaries, literally, they profited off of torture,
Right.
war crimes in Sri Lanka. which is, I'm not going to go into it again, but it's like, again, you look at what happened during the Sri Lankan Civil War, and if you want to be like a libertarian socialist or whatever, anarchist, whatever you want to say, right? If you need any convincing, like just any hard like lived experience or any reason to lean in that direction, look at the Sri Lankan Civil War. Like, look at the combatants in the Sri Lankan Civil War. That shows you the fraudulent nature of the sort of slogan of every country. That shows you how fraudulent the ideology, the governing ideology of any country is.
Right.
It's every state is obsessed with accumulating power. It doesn't matter which it is. It doesn't matter which state it is. It's always obsessed with accumulating power for itself. It is a machine. And Sri Lanka shows it. Sri Lanka demonstrates that. The Sri Lankan Civil War demonstrates that. All of these states want access to Sri Lanka's deep seaports. They
Right.
want access to Sri Lanka's untapped resources. They want access to the trade routes from Sri Lanka. That's the reason every country, including China, is willing to keep mum about what happened in Sri Lanka, what has been happening in Sri Lanka for the past several decades. Like, again, but yeah, so basically the IMF, with the IMF bailout, do I think anything is going to improve? No. Things are going to get worse. Things are going to get they're going to get far worse before they get better, if at all. They're going to get way worse in Sri Lanka before they get better. And unfortunately, the Adele Ann Wilby. Oh, I do not know about this. I did not know. Oh, is she Anton Balasingham's wife? Yeah. No, I've heard of this person. Yeah. Anton Balasingham's wife. Yeah. I know who this. A spouse of Anton Balasingham. Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. It's just like every country wants to accumulate power and resources, and that's it. Sorry, I was just like, I got carried away.
No, I know.
Yeah, like basically what I was trying to say was like, basically what I was trying to say is like, yeah, Sri Lanka is not going to improve at all.
Right.
Like they're not going to improve. They're just not going to improve anytime soon. It's just not going to work, right? They're going to privatize. It's going to hasten one of the things that Sri Lanka needs to do is it needs to start doing capital replacement.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to start doing like capital replacement, basically. It'll work for certain. It's going to be like, I think that's genuinely speaking a more viable alternative to what people have right now. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Well, the question is it something that is going to be done under the current conditions, right? Like,
no, it's not. Like, again, you have the political conditions of Sri Lanka are so. This is where, like, me and this Marxist professor by the name of what's his name, Ahilan Kadirgamar, will probably disagree.
Okay.
We generally agree on the fact that solidarity needs to be built among people on the island, right? In terms of like people need to be aware of, how they're being oppressed by capitalism, and they need to build redundant power structures on the island to combat what is going on in as much as possible. They need to build redundant power structures against the government, right?
Sure.
The problem is, I don't think he's as strident as I am. I don't think he's as like, how do I explain it? I don't think he's as vigorous and a advocate of decentralization of power as I am. And I think that's a dangerous. I think, given Sri Lanka's fraught history with nationalism and centralization of power, I think it's a very dangerous game to play by basically having faith that a Marxist party that takes control of the government is going to do right on behalf of all the ethnic groups of the island, especially considering after the second uprising, the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, the JVP, the largest communist party of Sri Lanka, quite literally basically said, we are not going to accommodate the needs of the Tamils. We're not going to throw solidarity towards the independence aspirations of the Tamils. We're not going to do that. They basically and eventually what happened was Sinhalese Buddhist supremacy crept into the Marxist-Leninist Party of Sri Lanka.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it is a Marxist-Leninist party. It is a very centralized, decentralized, these are buzzwords, but it is a very rigid structure.
Right.
You can say that. It's a very rigid, top-down structure where there's obedience that is demanded, right, of the party workers to authority, right? And when you have those sorts of dynamics where, like even in a democratic setting where you have majority rule, well, what happens when you have an ethnic majority? What happens when you have an ethnic majority? And there are policies that are going to benefit the ethnic majority at the expense of the ethnic minority.
Right.
Even in said situations, instead of a consensus-based decision-making mechanism where everyone gets together and finally agrees upon a solution, what is going to happen is people are just going to simply say, oh, 50%, do we make it past the 50% mark? Boom, we're just going to run with it. And it's not going to actually address the needs of the ethnic minorities on the island. It's just not going to do that.
Right.
So,
and it's one of the to critique the Marxist Leninists of the internet again. They ignore any time that a Marxist Leninist, what have you, government or organization does something exactly like that. It is okay to do the bad thing when it's against the people who either you don't like or don't count, right? That's really what it comes down to.
Or inconvenient, let's put it that way.
Yeah, inconvenient people get, pushed aside. Like, again, the Uyghurs, right? I don't know anywhere near enough about the Uyghurs and how they live their lives or anything else, but they were just chilling being Uyghurs, and now the Chinese are telling them to be some other kind of way. And that, to me, sounds like not communist, not socialist, and super sussy.
That's a whole nother can of worms I don't want to get into. No, obviously, like, what is going on in China is basically a tokenization of the minorities. So similar to in America, how we tokenize Native Americans, or in Canada, we tokenize, Aboriginal people, and we treat them as like props, basically.
Right.
That's more or less the way China is treating its ethnic minorities. So, but that's a whole nother can of worms I don't want to get into right now. But
Yeah.
but again, in this particular situation, yeah, the JVP is uh my problem with the JVP is that again, it is susceptible to Sinhalese Buddhist supremacy,
Hmm.
despite them on paper being a Marxist Leninist organization. They should be against Buddhist supremacy.
Right.
But again, the problem with that is, these parties are run by fallible human beings.
Hmm.
And it is a bit ironically idealistic of, these Marxists to just immediately, Marxist Leninists, to just immediately think that everything is going to be hunky dory once we gather and we do in the Maoist case, like we do the mass line, we're going to have people come together, we're going to have people give their recommendations, bring them into one area, deliberate over it, and then bring it back to the mass line, like so on and so forth. Like it's very idealistic to think that this sort of streamlined process is just going to immediately like work in favor of as many people as possible.
Right.
It is democracy is a very messy process.
Yeah.
Like democratic processes, like consensus based democracy, that is a very messy process. It is going to be difficult. It is going to be, but the outcome of it is worth it. The means cannot be separated from the ends, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Like the means absolutely cannot be separated from the ends at all.
Yeah. If you are substituting a pseudo democratic process for actual, democracy, then you are going to run into trouble. And my evidence for that is everywhere that it's been done, including the United States. Like our democratic process, right now we have people wasting time in government talking to TikTok and yelling about AI, and most of them have no idea what they're talking about, and it's not servicing the people at all, right? So this
President, assistant of the president from the JVP. No. That's not who it was. No, so Ronald. No. So don't.
can we not do this one again?
That's not who it was. Oh God, that story was wild.
That is wild. That is a thing that happened, and it exists, and we're gonna keep walking and leave that by the side of the road. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that again. I give you a lot of respect. Your chat is wild, homie. They are absolutely wild.
No, I mean like, oh Lord. No, it's because the stories we talk about are fucking wild.
I know.
It's because the stories we talk about are absolutely insane. And this is just the stuff that I think is like sane enough to be covered on the show.
Right. It has to cross TOS, right?
Yeah. No, in India, this is like you see like a lot of people like just replace dog with cow, and it's like,
No,
oh,
no, I'm not gonna do that.
oh Lord. But yeah, no, that's totally different guy. No, the JVP was the guy that elected. There was the party that elected that appointed a literal war criminal to be their defense ministerial candidate recently. So there's that. Also, the current leader of the UNP, or like the current what was the title of the thing I'm looking for? The UNP Sri Lanka, United National Party Sri Lanka. Yeah, the current, where is it? Wait, that's not it. No. Sajid Premadasa. No, it's the leader of the opposition. I got it wrong.
Hmm.
It is the UPP, excuse me. Yeah. The chairman of the UPP, the leader of the opposition, is Sarath Fonseca, who is quite literally a former army general during the Sri Lankan Civil War.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that gives you an idea of how fucked the situation in Sri Lanka is.
Okay,
It doesn't matter which party you go to. What?
right. He's the leader of the opposition party to the people who actually did the
Yes.
genocide. He was in charge of the military that did the genocide.
Yes.
And it dude.
Fonseca, is he of Portuguese heritage? No. So he's Sri Lankan. No. So we're talking about Sri Lanka. And because the Portuguese colonized Sri Lanka, a lot of Sinhalese people in particular, the Portuguese basically colonized the south, which is the Sinhalese dominated part of Sri Lanka. So a lot of Sinhalese people are going to have Portuguese last names. So you see a lot of people named like De Silva, or Fonseca, or what's her name? Solomon Ridgway Diaz. No, Solomon Wesley Ridgway Diaz. Oh, that makes sense then. Yeah, no, we're talking about Sri Lanka. So Sarath Fonseca, Pereira, yeah, you're gonna see Pereira as well. You're gonna see a lot of if the guy is from if the guy is from Sri Lanka and he has a Portuguese name, he's Sinhalese. Right? If they like De Silva, Gonsalves or whatever, like it's gonna be Fernando, whatever, right? It's gonna be Sinhalese. So Sarath Fonseca is a general, high-ranking general during the Sri Lankan Civil War. So he's a war criminal, and he is the chairman of the current opposition party in Sri Lanka, the United People's Party.
Right.
The current leader of that party, which is like the main figurehead of the party, is Sajid Premadasa, who is the son of Ranasinghe Premadasa, the prime minister of Sri Lanka during Black July, the start of the Civil War, the guy who literally committed ethnic pogroms against the Tamils.
Right.
Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is the current president. I'm just like, if for Shakespeare, I'm demonstrating how fucked the political situation in Sri Lanka is.
Yeah.
The political situation in Sri Lanka is fucked. It is supremely fucked. It is beyond, like, you have to basically burn everything straight to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It is insanely bad. Basically everyone in power is linked to an ongoing genocide in Sri Lanka. It doesn't matter which party you pick. All the major parties, even the Communist Party, is like linked to a genocide.
Man.
It doesn't matter. That's how fucked the situation in Sri Lanka is. So, and the IMF loan that Sri Lanka just took is going to make things, it's going to exacerbate like the economic conditions of Sri Lanka for the time being. The austerity measures that Sri Lanka is invoking it's going to make things far worse.
Would it have been better for the country to have collapsed, in your non-economist opinion?
I mean, obviously, it wouldn't have been great for it to collapse, but like I said, I think there are other ways that Sri Lanka could have. I I think there are other ways that uh, I think there are other ways that Sri Lanka could have dealt with this a little bit, but it would have required more time and more effort from the ground.
Right.
It would have required far more mobilization, which again, given and again, people are starving, they're having trouble getting, rations, they're having trouble getting medical supplies. As a Tamil, yeah, they deserved it. Okay, no, dude, you're not gonna say that. You're not gonna say that because you want to know why you're not gonna say that? Because the people literally most affected by the economic crisis, but Tamils are also equally affected. Exactly my no, they're worse affected actually. Yeah, you're not gonna say that because the Tamils are even worse affected. Like the people that you saw that threw the president out, those were people living in Colombo. The reason you saw all of that protesting, all of the quote unquote coup that you saw in Sri Lanka and in Colombo is precisely because it happened in Colombo. Like the economic conditions in Jaffna, Mannar, Kilinochchi, in those cities in the northern parts of the country, they were far worse. They have, on average, they have a lower median income than the rest of the country, the northern cities. The Tamil dominated cities, on average, have a lower median income than the rest of the country. So saying like Sri Lanka fucking deserved it is literally saying, well, the Tamils are also living there too.
Right.
No, what needs to happen is I mean, it's hollow words coming from me. Obviously, the Sri Lankan government needs to devolve its power immediately. Like people need to, and it sounds ridiculous coming out of my mouth because you and I both know it's never going to happen.
Right.
It's never going to happen willingly. It's never going to happen on its own. But no, like power needs to be devolved from. There needs to be a more decentralized government in Sri Lanka. That's one. That political solution needs to be addressed. Right? That political situation needs to be addressed immediately, yesterday. That's one. And the second thing is there needs to be a more on the ground capital replacement program. So, for example, Sri Lanka exports a lot of those fish that it fishes a lot, right? Is the only solution? Well, I mean, that's the political solution. That's the governance solution that we're talking about here. But if we're talking in terms of economics, there needs to be a shift away from, uh, you know, like there needs to be a shift away from what we know as, like for example, most of Sri Lanka's fish actually that the Sri Lanka fishes goes abroad, right? Until recently, Sri Lanka had 100% self sufficiency on rice,
Mm-hmm.
but because now that's gone due to the Rajapaksas, now they're importing rice too. That worsened the economic situation in Sri Lanka,
Right.
right? So, like, yeah, decentralization of power needs to happen, 1000%. But there needs to be a way. There needs to be a move away from this sort of economy where you fish for resources and then sell it abroad. No, resources that are fished in Sri Lanka, it needs to be more self-sufficient in the sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sri Lanka needs to restore its rice self-sufficiency. It needs to bring back its fishery self-sufficiency. Whatever it needs to focus on self-sufficiency first.
Yeah. I mean, that's really because it's caught up at the short end of that capitalist model, and it's not exporting its excess, which would be fine in that regard. But when you're exporting stuff that you need to offset, like you said, like the way that they rolled back the use of fertilizers and the use of and they played to an organic farming kind of concept. part of that is because they had to import the fertilizer, and you don't want, they don't want to pay for that at that government level, at the Rajapaksa's, their economic plan for Sri Lanka. So it led to this situation, and now you're 100%. They need to rebuild back to where they have enough fish and rice for all their people, and then if there's an excess, sell that off. But that's not how capitalism works, in spite of all the propaganda.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's basically what needs to happen. That's basically what needs to happen right now.
Right. And unfortunately, the opposite side of the coin is you don't take the IMF loan. Everything goes to, to shit. You end up with another civil war as different factions attempt to seize power, and them that are farthest from the resources that will still exist are going to be the most to suffer. We're going to be the Tamils.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's something that people tend to forget about, with the glorious socialist revolution and overthrowing the capitalists and everything else, is like a lot of good people die when that happens. A lot of just regular folks trying to live their lives and make it day to day are going to be the first to suffer. There are schools of thought, I know, I'm going to preempt them, who think that the people who are farther from those things are going to be less affected because they're used to operating on their own. And I don't agree with that. I think it just would exacerbate their current negative situations more. But yeah, no, it sucks all the way around. And I unfortunately I don't have a solution other than, fucking fairy dust and hopes and dreams. Sorry,
Yeah.
I kind of
No, I mean,
I took us on a downer for for a change.
no, I agree. I mean, if none of these political solutions are addressed, then we're going. I mean, again, Sinhalese Buddhist nationalism has been an underpinning of Sri Lankan politics for literally decades, nearly a century at this point,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, in Sri Lanka, you don't have like a unifying Indian nationalism, or like you don't have a unifying Sri Lankan nationalism in the same way that Indian nationalism is defined with like opposition to the British. You don't even have that.
Right.
In Sri Lanka, you have Sinhalese Buddhist national. You have ethnic nationalism. It's based on the two different ethnicities,
Right.
right? But the fact of the matter is, the Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists are the dominant form of nationalism in the country, and they're the most poisonous. Like, it's like that needs to be addressed. And the way you start beginning to address that is, one, you actually address the political solution, which is devolving power away from the center,
Mm-hmm.
which again no one wants to do. And two, the second solution to that would be, again, moving from this sort of import economy that Sri Lanka has, and more back into the sort of self-sufficient economy that they originally kind of used to have, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the best political solution. I think that's like a good start. That's a much better start than what the road that Sri Lanka is going. Sri Lanka is going down right now.
Right.
Sri Lanka is going down another road of misery. And there's really not much we can do about it. So,
Yay.
yeah, this is very uplifting. Very uplifting. This is very uplifting. Uh, yeah, I agree. Omega lol. Yeah. is very. I mean, yeah. Again, it's just like every time we talk about what happens in Sri Lanka is just a downer because it is because like there's like it is a multi-layered problem that exists in
Right.
Sri Lanka that people don't really ever want to address.
Right.
Like people don't ever want to address like again, even like liberals in Sri Lanka are like, oh well, the genocide didn't happen. Like, I'm sorry, what?
Right.
Or they'll be like, oh, listen. Like a lot of the people that elected Rajapaksa hate him now, not because, he committed war crimes. No, they liked him. They liked his war crimes enough to elect him. They liked his war crimes enough to elect him, but they didn't like the fact that their crumbs were touched.
Right.
That's
Yeah. And that happens, like, that is not something that exists only in Sri Lanka. That is like a general worldwide issue of people protecting their own little chunk of whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, Sri Lankan people are just the same as American people. We just want to do our thing and have a house and family and food and go about our business. And then the people with power, like, they gotta. It's like you said with Colombo. It's like when it got so bad, when it got so out of control that it started to affect, those folks. That's when they did something about it, and that is the baseline for why any of us do anything, with political activism all the way up to what they did. But they didn't care when it was happening to other people, right? More vulnerable people.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to care. Like, if there's anyone in the chat, I feel like we're at that point where it's like, does anyone disagree with us, right? Like, or are we
Yeah.
all on the same page of, like, we need to protect the more vulnerable and we need to devolve power away from, the people who have
Someone
it.
in the chat be like, no, we need to actually hurt the vulnerable. Like maybe, like maybe there's something like, like imagine someone in the chat just be like, no, you made some good points earlier, but I'm not sure I'm with you on the protecting the vulnerable part.
Right. Oh, what else we got? Anything?
Yeah, there was
anything else?
an earthquake that happened in Pakistan.
Oh yeah.
That I didn't really. I might quickly go over that because it's an earthquake,
Yeah.
and it's the thing that I don't like covering natural disasters all that much because other than the fact that like it's I don't know, it's just like it's just I don't know, I don't know why. I don't know exactly why I don't like covering that sort of thing, but like it just feels like it feels like it's a freak accident in compare like you can blame like oh the infrastructure issues and whatnot, right? You can blame like the massive systemic failures in addressing some of this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, it like earthquakes are kind of a freak accident, and there's really not much we can do about it.
Right.
But we can only like we can't prevent earthquakes, quote unquote, in that same sense, other than like we can build more structure, we can do some preventative work for sure. But like the thing is Pakistan doesn't have that kind of infrastructure to deal with that as far as I know. But again, solidarity goes to the people of Pakistan.
Yeah, 100%.
Turkmenistan, well, India also kind of got affected, but not really. It's unpreventable, yeah. Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan. But yeah, solidarity to the people of Pakistan too. but and then like I think Imran Khan was saying earlier the other day, like people were planning on assassinating him, or like the government is trying to arrest him, basically. Like, my take on Imran Khan has always been this, right? Imran Khan is like Imran Khan has his issues. He's a massive like neoliberal at the end of the day. Imran Khan's economic policies are very capitalist, right? They're very centrist, right? Earthquakes are not that common in this part of the globe, but Pakistan is mountainous. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, and like excuse me. I live in Western New York. We are like earthquakes aren't common here. I've had 4 of them happen here in my life. They're small. They like it feels like something where like a truck hit the house. It's just like a bang and then it stops, you know. So it's not that kind of thing. But it's like, you know, earthquakes happen almost randomly in a lot of places, and you know, you do the best you can, and you hope that like as many people as possible are survived and taken care of, and you know that solidarity with the people of that region. Like that's all you can do. It's weird. Yeah, it's not on the Ring of Fire. That's a whole other
That's a
whole
whole
other
other
smoke.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Imran
yeah.
Khan.
Imran Khan. Yeah. Imran Khan is still a neoliberal, and he has like very reactionary tendencies. Let's put it that way. Uh, um, but do I think his presence provides a decent buffer as an opposition to the other two parties? I would agree with that statement. I think the fact that Imran Khan exists is a decent, like, I still think that Imran Khan should be able to, like, you know, run, and if he is popularly elected as, you know, prime minister, he should be able to like do that. Even though like I still think he's a massive neolib, even though, you know, he's not much, like, from an economic perspective, he's not much of a better alternative to the like, he's not as bad as like Shehbaz Sharif, who is now the current prime minister of Pakistan, who's literally just a U.S. client asset. Like, he's literally just like, basically what happens in Pakistan is that like nothing happens in Pakistan without the army saying it's okay.
Right.
Yeah, Imran is better. He's not the best. Exactly. That's my point. Yeah. Imran is better than the others, but he's not a very good candidate. He's just like, yeah, he's all right. Imran Khan is meh. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to basically be like like you're like, and also, would I put it past the Pakistani military to try and silence him? Absolutely not. Like, I would not like assume that the Pakistan military are saints and would never try and silence opposition. Like fucking Benazir Bhutto was assassinated.
Right.
Like assassinations are a common thing in this part of the world. Like in both India and in Pakistan, political assassinations are quite common. He built a good relationship with India and said some weird shit about India. Yeah, he's a weird dude. Like, yeah, Imran Khan is a genuinely weird guy. He's a former cricketer turned prime minister.
Right.
You can't really expect him to be the most well-adjusted person in society. He comes from a very wealthy background, or like not a wealthy background. He comes from a relatively like well-off background. He went on to become he came from a middle class background, went on to play for the Pakistani national cricket team, literally was a playboy, and then literally came back. Oh shit! Carpe Pax, thank you for the raid.
Add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Resistance is futile.
Welcome in, Raiders.
Hey.
Welcome in, Raiders.
Welcome in.
All Welcome in, Raiders. Hope you had a wonderful stream, Carpe Packs. We're just talking about so we're the two big stories today were Rahul Gandhi, the leader of the opposition, being arrested, like being thrown in jail for 2 years, and then Sri Lanka getting an IMF loan. Those are the two big stories that I'm talking about, and very wild stories.
Yeah, and you know what effects the arrest might have on.
And we assume they're related. No, they're not. they're very unrelated to one another. It has nothing to do with one another.
The potential effects the arrest might have on the future, the coming election in Karnataka next month, and whether or not that has anything to do with like indicators of the direction that India is going in the near future.
Yeah. So that was one thing we were talking about. And then the other thing was just generally the IMF loan in Sri Lanka. What implications does that have for what is happening in Sri Lanka? What does Sri Lanka need to do? What are some of the political prescriptions that need to happen in order for Sri Lanka to actually like prosper, or the people of Sri Lanka to prosper? Yeah, and we were just talking about how fucked the political situation in Sri Lanka was. Just because like you can't really talk about Sri Lanka and like kind of like not laugh at the absurdity of how bad the situation is there.
Right.
Everyone is deeply corrupt, and everyone in power is deeply genocidal. Everyone in power is deeply racist. Like, that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Everyone in power is deeply corrupt, greedy capitalists, and everyone in power are fascists. So there's no winning. There's absolutely no winning. There's absolutely no fucking winning in Sri Lanka.
And we don't have any solutions or expectations of any near-term changes to that situation.
Nope. Sri Lanka is fucked. Sri Lanka is screwed. Because again, no one wants to actually address the political. So the IMF loan is just related to the people with power, regardless of who the opposition is. No, the IMF loan in Sri Lanka is related to the fact that it just went through an economic crisis. Like it is, or it's still going through an economic crisis that has been ongoing for decades. But the Civil War actually kind of, like the Civil War kind of basically halted the neoliberalization of the country. And then once the war ended, once the Civil War finally ended, the liberalization of Sri Lanka's economy kicked into high gear.
Yeah. And then because of like COVID and other things that happened, they found themselves no longer with the ability to pay back the loans that they had taken out, and that led to the current situation, and that the IMF loan is supposed to assist them with.
Basically. But we both know that's not going to happen. We both know that the IMF loan is not going to help.
Yeah, I know the solution when you can't make your loan payments is to take out more loans. That's always a winning scenario.
Yeah, no, the solution is just to take out more loans. Yeah, that'll work.
Right.
But to demonstrate how fucked the situation is, the current president of Sri Lanka, Ranil Wickremesinghe, has held first of all, let's start with him actually. Instant switch from chemical fertilizer to organic fertilizer. Yeah, that destroyed the country's self-sufficiency on rice.
Right.
So that's another thing that happened. Another thing that happened was what was I going to say? Something. I feel like this is don't trust the Greeks even when they bring gifts thing straight out of the Iliad. No, I mean Sri Lanka, like the story of Sri Lanka Carpe is not even just about the IMF.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a whole genocide you've never heard of going on the island right the fuck now.
And
There's a whole
everybody worldwide, their hands are dirty with, fucking around. It went
name any
from
country on the map, like they're probably involved in it.
right.
Like name any country that CNN has ever talked about, and they're probably involved in it.
Yeah.
Like
on the same side, no matter what they
no,
might say
they-
elsewhere.
No. So let me explain what I mean by that, right? Like, so most of the countries you've probably heard of or you probably talk about a lot, they either sold weapons to Sri Lanka, to the Sri Lankan army. They either sold weapons to the Sri Lankan army during the Civil War. Yeah. Globus, can you pull that up? I just want to show chat this. I just want to show the 18 people in chat this. Did that link that Abrams just sent? I just want people to pictures speak way louder than words. I'm sorry. Like I can't explain how insane the situation is.
Give me just a second, chat, while I bring up a little window capture.
Jaylee. Okay, scroll all the way down.
Yeah, give me one.
Oh, yeah, I'll let you do that for a second. Open that window capture. Hold on a second.
And then I need to slide over here.
Yep.
You can see all these fun flags.
Yeah. So that is the Sri Lankan Civil War, right? Those are all the countries that have been involved in the Sri Lankan Civil War from 1983 to 2006. Jesus fucking Christ, the number of countries on both sides. No, that's it. Nope. No, you're actually wrong. There's actually only 4 other countries on the other side. And those are just claims. So it's actually the only other country that was on the other side, on the right side, was India. That's the only confirmed. Right? Everyone that sided with Sri Lanka, and by the way, Sri Lanka has committed documented war crimes. Like we're talking documented fucking war crimes, bombing hospitals, bombing schools, like literally bombing innocent people into oblivion, right? Bombing makeshift tents in hospitals, right? These are all the countries that helped the Sri Lankan government literally bomb that fucking, the northern parts of the country into oblivion. See any familiar faces on there? See any familiar faces on the left side? Any familiar faces? Chat. Anything look familiar to you?
I just love that we have, like, even though, like you said, reported, right? Like, you got Ukraine.
And the peril here are huge.
Thank you for the follow. Ukraine on the side of the Sri Lankan government, special military training. Ukraine on the side of the LTTE. Like,
No. I love how, notice that they also had to break down exactly how they helped Sri Lanka, by the way. They had to specify how they helped Sri Lanka. It wasn't just that they helped Sri Lanka, because they helped Sri Lanka in multiple different ways.
Yep. You got North Korea, and you got North Korea.
Fucking North Korea sold weapons to Sri Lanka. North Korea sold weapons to Sri Lanka. North Korea. North fucking Korea. North Korea. Kim Jong Il literally said, Kim Jong Il literally dead ass said, "Hey, I want in on this." Kim Jong Il, unironically, dead ass said, "I want in on this," and literally sold weapons to literally sold weapons to Sri Lanka.
Yep.
There's also coastal surveillance. Socialism in one country, I guess. Yeah. I guess, yeah. Apparently, super socialist of some of these countries to literally help. By the way, Sri Lanka has basically been run by back-to-back fascists.
Yeah.
Like open fascists, like open Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists. Like every major like prime minister, president is openly Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists. And these guys, all of these countries, were literally committing war crimes and genocide against the Tamils of the north. All of these countries, all of them sold weapons to Sri Lanka, or they trained the Sri Lankan army.
Yep. Or in the case of the U.S. and India, provided coastal surveillance.
Or actually did all three.
Or did all three.
Trained them, sold weapons, and did coastal surveillance. And the reason, by the way, you're probably wondering, what the fuck does coastal surveillance mean? What the hell does that even mean? It's because the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam that you see right over there, the LTTE, they had a navy. They had they had ships and shit.
Did they really?
Yeah. They actually had some of the best, they had a very competent navy.
You see, I didn't know that.
Again, when I say that the LTTE, and again, I'm not defending them. I'm not defending every fucking thing that they've ever done, right?
100.
Obviously, because a lot of those motherfuckers are reactionary too, right? But they were fucking self-sufficient. They were a well-oiled machine. Genuinely well-oiled machine. Genuinely fucking well-oiled machine. It took all of these countries tipping their fucking thumb on the scale, being like, well, we can't have this, we can't have these upstarts have their own country. Fuck that. I just want that to sink in for the audience.
Yeah.
This whole thing, we were just talking about, America versus China in regards to TikTok, right? A lot of people are saying, oh, America this, China that, right? Obviously, our elected representatives are fucking dumbasses when talking about, Chinese affairs, right? They're fucking dumbasses when it comes to talking about the PRC, right? They're complete morons,
right?
They don't know anything. That's a completely fair assessment, right? But this is the reason why I fucking hate every country.
Yeah.
Every country has blood on their hands. Every country on this fucking list literally has blood on their hands. Every country on this list has blood on their hands. War crimes were committed with Israeli jets and Chinese weapons.
And it's wild that special military training, Israel, Iran, right? Two countries that historically governments did not like each other, and yet they could agree on fucking with Sri Lanka.
No, they literally agree that the Tamils needed to be genocided.
Right.
They agreed that the Tamils need to be exterminated. Let's be clear about that. To be honest, Prabhakaran would have ran Sri Lanka way better than Sinhalese because he never hated Sinhala people. Okay, we're not getting into that assumption yet, right? We're not getting into that assumption. But no, I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to say this any better. I don't know how to demonstrate to people every country, India and Pakistan are on the same side. Ukraine and Russia are on the same side here. America, North Korea, China, Iran, Russia, they're all on the same time. Yeah. When do you ever see India and Pakistan on the same team?
Right.
I just want chat to remember that. When do you ever see India and Pakistan ever on the same team? Never. Israel and Iran on the same team.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
I mean,
like,
technically they're not on the same team, but they're both like they're convenient allies of one another. Let's put it that way. They're both convenient tools of the Sri Lankan government.
were they going to take over the world, like, and like everyone had to unite to stop them from whatever utopia they were going to bring us? Like, that's how absurd this feels, right? Like, where everyone can put down their bullshit and just be on the same team to prevent this one small group in a small country from just getting it. Like, they just wanted their own state, right? Like, they wanted a separate state.
Yeah, they wanted to create their own country. Yeah, they wanted to create a country called Tamil Eelam. They wanted to create their own country. And these guys, all of these motherfucking countries were like, nope. All of these countries were like, no, we can't have that. What kind of economic system did they want to do? I mean, fuck, I'm not getting into this, but if you look at the LTTE, listen, it's not about the economic system. Like if you're talking about like what economic system did the LTTE want to implement, that's a completely irrelevant point. This is completely irrelevant, right? On like the LTTE, the Tigers will say like, oh, they're revolutionary socialists. They can do, right? No, like no, that's like whatever. Like that's no. The reason that they wanted to create their own country is because the Tamils of the North are literally victims of genocide. That's the reason. That's the reason they're fighting. It's not to institute any economic system. It is to escape a literal persecution by the Sri Lankan government. It is quite literally to escape persecution by fascist mobs. That's the reason. Just liberation. Yeah, they are just like, can we get independence and shit? Now, again, we're not going to like defend like the LTTE's like, you know, the ethnic cleansing of the then why is it in the interest of so many superpowers to stop them? Because every one of these superpowers has their own separatist movements, except for the United States. The US is going to do LTTE or communist socialists. I mean, they say they're communist socialists. They're not.
And
they're not. They'll say a lot of things. They're not.
Let's say that they were, right? Let's grant that they are that. You have the biggest names in capitalism and the biggest names in communism/socialism on the same list, trying to put them down.
Exactly. They literally worship Che Guevara. That doesn't mean anything, dude. Che Guevara was also like a guerrilla dude. He was also a guerrilla fighter. Like, what did you like? Yeah, of course. Like, again, like the LTTE had a shit ton of reactionaries in their midst. But the point is, that's not the point. The economic system is like not even the point of the discussion. The reason these guys, and by the way, Plodi, Tello, and all these other militant organizations in Sri Lanka literally fought against the Sri Lankan government is literally because their ethnic group was being genocided and they wanted a separate state. That's the reason. That's the short end of it. It's because like Iran has its own separatist groups. China has its own separatist groups. Israel obviously has, its own separatist groups, or it has its own not separatist groups, but it has its own again, the situation in Sri Lanka is quite similar to it's a settler. I don't know if it's a settler colonial state, but it's a apartheid state, right? It's an apartheid state. So, that's the reason every one of and also the other thing that the other thing that every one of these countries wanted was a stable Sri Lanka. And the reason they wanted a stable Sri Lanka is Sri Lanka has access to deep sea ports.
Right.
And Sri Lanka has a lot of untapped resources. That's the reason every one of these countries wanted Sri Lanka for themselves. So when we say like all of them put their differences aside to like, come together and be like all these enemies came together to, fuck over the Tamils. It's a quarter tongue in cheek. We're saying that, right?
Right.
But no, it's because every one of these countries has capital interests in Sri Lanka. And they did the risk assessment, they did the calculation, and they said, we would much rather have a genocidal fascist state that is massacring Tamils by the thousands than allow a group of people to determine themselves, right? Whether the group be, the best representatives of that cause or not. That's what happened here in Sri Lanka. That's what happened. That's why you see all of these flags on the left-hand side putting their thumb on the scale in favor of Sri Lanka, because they did the economic, they did the economic math, they did the calculus, and they came to the conclusion that a stable fascist Sri Lanka, a stable Sinhalese Buddhist chauvinist Sri Lanka is more economically beneficial to them. They can get their capital interests much easier through a fascist government and installation of a openly genocidal government of Sri Lanka than having an unstable Sri Lanka.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same reason that China, despite being adhering to Mao Zedong thought, literally funded the fascist government of the Philippines against the Maoist rebels. It's the same reason. It's the reason that China literally came to the aid, like basically said, hey, India, can we help you out with your Maoists? Again, they did the economic calculus and they said, no, it is in our interest, it is in our economic interest to have Sri Lanka have fascists in power. So if millions of the Tamils die and they end up in mass graves, what's it to us?
Right.
That is the economic calculus that they did. If that answers your question, Carpe, I don't know if you're still here, but that's basically the reason. If you're looking for the materialist analysis, if you're looking for the class analysis of this, if you're looking for the materialist analysis, that's the reason. Sri Lanka has a lot of resources,
and the peril here
and these guys don't want to. They want a stable government. That's the reason.
Yeah, one of the reasons why the United States is associated with so many authoritarian dictators around the world is because the economic calculus leans in that direction. You want one person or a very small group of people who can make sure the thing that you want to happen in that country happens. And having a small group, relatively speaking, organize their own state causes issues for everyone in this list, right? Like 100%.
Yep. Yep. That's the reason. That's the reason. Like people are like shocked when I show this to people. Like people are shocked. They're like, "How? Wait, what?" This list literally breaks their fucking brains.
Yeah.
They're like, "How?" Yeah, Sri Lanka is a geostrategic spot. Yeah. But like the reason I'm saying like, oh well, look at they're able to come together. They're putting aside their differences to come together to literally genocide Tamils. The reason we're saying it that way is literally to demonstrate how flimsy this ideological warfare is.
Right.
Right? How flimsy the discussion in America with regards to geopolitics, how ridiculous the sort of binary understanding of geopolitics that a lot of Americans tend to have. I'm gonna call all of you guys out. That a lot of Americans tend to have.
Right. Just because they have socialist in their name, communist in their name,
Just because they're waving a hammer and sickle everywhere doesn't mean shit.
Right. All states are bastards. Geopolitics, the operation of a large state, all these things makes you do certain stuff. And this is what it looks like. Sri Lanka just provides the most raw, unfiltered example of what it looks like.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you wanted, like, the best case for my politics, the politics that I advocate for, a truly free socialism, right? A truly decentralized, self-empowered socialism, right? This is the best case for that.
Right.
This is the best case for that. I don't think, people are like, oh, well, what about states? Aren't states here to protect people, or aren't states here to do this? I just show this and boom, it's over. Because really, you need a transitory state to do what? Commit genocide? Really? Because to help other countries commit genocide? Interesting. I didn't know that was part of your class analysis. Cool.
Like, this is what it looks like. This is really what it looks like when
I don't like I said, a picture paints 1,000 words. I don't need, when we just show this on screen, I don't have to say anything.
Right.
Like, chat, genuinely, what are your thoughts on this?
Anybody have any counter arguments?
He doesn't have to say anything. He's from India. He's a Tamil person from India. He doesn't have to say anything. He knows. He gets it. Alex does TV, Carpe Packs. You got any thoughts on this?
We are open to
we're open,
counter arguments. Anything?
Yeah, come on. We're really, genuinely, we're very open to counter arguments. Because if you got because you're going to have a very good, convincing counter argument for this. I don't think anyone can come up with a counter argument against this, other than the fact that, I've never seen a good counter argument for this. Right. Genuinely. This is what's to argue for. Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. This, that's the reason, this is, by the way, the people that were in charge, those people that orchestrated all this, the people in the Sri Lankan government, they're still around.
Yeah.
They're still around. They're still around. The guys that just got thrown out last year, they're back in the country. The Rajapaksa family that got thrown out, people were bathing in the presidential palace and shit. They were working out in the presidential gym. That Gotabaya Rajapaksa, yeah, he's back in the country now. They gave him a 3-month vacation. Now he's living in a fucking villa.
And the leader of the opposition party?
The leader of the opposition party? Oh yeah, no, the current president was the current president was literally put into the prime ministerial position by the former president. The former president put the current president in the prime ministerial position, and then once that president, the former president, was thrown out, this dude became president. And this dude served as prime minister 5 times. 5 times. 5 times. Corruption with impunity. No. It gets worse. It gets worse, Carpe. It gets even worse. You don't even know how bad this... No, it gets worse. The current president's uncle J.R. Jayawardena, right, was himself president during the program that literally kicked off this civil war that you're looking at. So the current president's uncle was in power when the civil war you're looking at was kicked off. And then the leader of the opposition, right, Sajith Premadasa, his father was the prime minister during Black July. By an anti-Tamil pogrom? Yes. Yes. There have been anti-Tamil pogroms and anti-Muslim pogroms. Black July was an anti-Tamil pogrom specifically. Thousands of people died in that pogrom. Right? And by the way, the current chairman of the opposition party is a literal war criminal, was a general of the Sri Lankan army during the civil war. General of the army during the Sri Lankan Civil War. That's the chairman of the opposition party. The leader of the opposition party is the son of the former prime minister of Black July.
Yeah. Yeah, Carpe.
No. It gets even worse, Carpe. You ready for this? We haven't even talked about the communists in Sri Lanka yet. We haven't even talked about the communists in Sri Lanka. Okay? Because it gets worse. The situation in Sri Lanka, it gets so much worse. The largest communist party in Sri Lanka, the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, literally appointed another war criminal, another general, a lieutenant of the Sri Lankan army to be their foreign ministerial candidate should they ever form a government in Sri Lanka. This is the largest communist party in Sri Lanka that did this. The largest communist party in Sri Lanka. The Communist Party of Sri Lanka literally appointed a war criminal to be their defense ministerial candidate. The Communist Party of Sri Lanka did this. Globus is smiling because he's understanding, no matter what they call themselves. No, it's just no, I know you don't. It's not like I'm not saying, it's just I just want to give you an idea of how fucked this entire situation is.
Yeah, I remember coming in to this as a concept through you on your stream, and I just I imagine what this is like you said, it breaks the brain to try and take any of the bullshit you had before coming into this and continue to have those kind of thoughts, right? If you don't come out of learning about Sri Lanka with all states are bastards at the foundation of your core, I don't know what to tell you anymore. You are a weird person.
Also, even the Maoists are fucked. The Maoists in Sri Lanka are fucked. Even the Maoists were racist. The Maoists were fucking racist. The Maoist party literally split in half. The Maoist party split in half because the Sinhalese Maoists were so racist. That is insane. It is the most insane thing. The fucking Maoists split in half. That's what I mean. The communists in Sri Lanka are insanely incompetent and racist. That gives you an idea of how insanely fucked the situation in Sri Lanka is.
Yeah.
There is zero accountability in the country. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. A story just came out about how British mercenaries were contracted by Sri Lanka to do torture, to literally torture on behalf of the Sri Lankan army during the Civil War, to literally go and kill Tamils. We just talked about that story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that mercenary made £4 million off of that, off of the torture.
And
the Sri Lankan army is not gonna. The Sri Lankan government isn't saying a word about it.
I read an excerpt related to that. The group, the KMS that was there doing that shit, actually canceled their contracts because the special police that they were teaching were too out of hand, too out of pocket. Like, they, how fucking wild is this?
Oh, imagine the CIA literally. Yo, imagine the fucking CIA or the KMS literally saying, no, you guys are way too out of pocket. What the fuck? That's how insanely fucked Sri Lanka is. Like, the Sinhalese nationalism is insane. The Sinhalese Buddhist nationalism that is rampant in Sri Lanka is fucking insane. Like, I need to show you one other thing, right? Just to demonstrate the damage that has been done, right? This is going to be a massive trigger warning, right? Well, I mean, the topic is already kind of a trigger warning, in case you didn't know. And like, Globus probably knows exactly what I'm going to bring up. What exact link I'm going to bring up is this link.
Yeah.
It's the big one. If you pull that up, I just want you.
Yeah, trigger warning, content warning. This shit is wild. You know, don't open it up unless you're ready mentally for that kind of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You pull that up, right? And just look at the scroll bar. Just look at the fucking scroll bar.
Yeah, it is so well documented and nothing is done.
Exactly. Nothing. Nothing has been done about this. Nothing's been done about this.
I mean, the Sri Lankan government committed all the war crimes, whatever war crime you can think of. I don't know if they gassed them. Did they drop gas on them? I don't know. That might be the only one they get a pass on.
This is a literal Holocaust we're talking about here.
But they did everything
this is like
else.
The most modern Holocaust you can think of.
Because it just ended not that long ago.
Yeah, this is quite literally the most modern Holocaust you can think of. Systematic torture, systematic rapes. Like, they had concentration camps too. Literally, they had concentration camps in Sri Lanka too. Quite literally. Like, basically, they went from a Holocaust to an apartheid state. That's the kind of scale of damage we're talking about here. Like, these are just the documented cases of rape against Tamil women, men, and children. These are the documented cases. And this was done by the Sri Lankan army, the Indian army, the Home Guards, and fascist mobs. Like, you look at this stuff and you don't get angry, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. Like,
yeah.
Like, if you look at this stuff and aren't like, holy fuck, what the hell is wrong? Like, if you don't come out of that thinking like, what the fuck? You have no humanity. Like, you genuinely have no, holy fuck, what the hell? What up, Anita? Like, holy hell, what the fuck is wrong? Exactly. No, like, also, you also came in at a very depressing time, as always. when I'm talking about depressing shit.
Yeah.
I always do. Yeah. No, but just look at that shit. Like, just look at this, and then look at the fucking link I sent. Like the sexual violence against Tamils in Sri Lanka, and look at. You don't even have to read anything.
Right.
You don't have to read anything. Just look at the size of it. Those are just the documented cases. That's it. That's all you need to do. That should give you a scale of the damage. Like, this is, again, actually, it doesn't even give you a scale of the damage. It's just a cross-section of what happened.
Right.
This is only largely just talking about sexual violence.
Right.
We're not talking about bombing of hospitals.
Bombing of hospitals.
We're not talking about bombing of schools. We're not talking about bombing homes. We're not talking about military occupation. We're not talking about any of that. This is literally just the rapes that the Sri Lankan army did.
Not talking about if you go to this section of the country, you'll be safe. And then once they did that, bombing the shit out of that portion of the country, and then saying, if you go to this section of the country, you'll be safe. Like, they push them out onto a peninsula. This shit is insane.
Yeah. We're also not even talking about literally using coordinates given by the Red Cross to bomb hospitals. We're not even talking about the fucking Red Cross's role in this shit.
Right.
The Red Cross fucked up. Do you know how badly you have to? You're the fucking Red Cross, dude.
This is the rules of war and how they break down if people just don't want to follow the rules.
Arun is so passionate, his voice is cracking. Yeah, this is like the one issue. Yeah, because because this stuff drives you insane. Yeah. Sri Lanka literally was like, no, Carpe. If you there's a fucking documentary called Sri Lanka's Killing Fields. If you can handle it, please watch it. That should give you a sense of how fucked the entire situation was from towards the end of the Civil War. That should give you an idea of how fucked the situation was.
Yeah, to anyone who's in chat, the Discord has a section that contains every link that we've gone over. It contains the link to the YouTube documentary Sri Lanka's Killing Fields. It's all right there, or you can Google it and just, again, really brace yourself, because it is like, I have watched plenty of documentaries on like El Salvador and other places where terrible shit happened to perfectly nice people. And I was still not ready for exactly how raw this gets, because it's filmed by people with their cell phones, and it makes it really, really personal, and it's disturbing. But if you can, you should watch it, because it's important fucking shit.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll first show you the Tamil side of things, and then they'll show you the Sri Lankan army soldier side of things. And the Sri Lankan army soldier side of things is worse.
Yeah, they film themselves with impunity.
Yeah, they film themselves literally committing war crimes with impunity. They never got arrested. Nothing happened to them. Nothing happened to them. They're probably there's a lot of people in Sri Lanka that reminisce committing war crimes like it was a fucking college party. Like, that's how insane this situation is. And people have been fighting, people have been begging people to pay attention to this shit. This is the reason I'm insanely passionate about this subject, right? It's because this is for me, it is kind of personal. For me and Abrams, it is kind of personal. Those are our ethnic brethren that were killed for simply existing. We're both Tamils. We're both Tamil people. We're from India, obviously. We're not Sri Lankan Tamils. But those are our people that were fucking massacred. Those were our fucking people that were massacred. Yeah, I mean, it's like, no, it's like you talking about this is enough to like fucking drive you insane. Talking like this is the like Sandy said, my ex mod Sandy said this the best, right? Or I guess she's still a mod in my Discord, but this is like the one genocide no one wants to talk about or no one talks about.
Right.
This is the one, like, this is ex mod. What happened? She busy with work. Like this is the one genocide that no one wants to talk about.
Yeah, why is this not politically efficacious for people who have, opinions on genocide, who have opinion on apartheid states, who have opinions on terrible things happening to perfectly nice people? Why does nobody care about Sri Lanka?
Well, I mean, it's a couple of reasons. I can answer that. One, you're kind of looking at it right the fuck now. Like, you're kind of looking at why people have never heard of it in the first place. Like, it's staring at you right in the fucking face right now.
Right.
Yeah, this is why you've never heard of it on any media. Because look at the fucking countries involved.
Right.
As one. Two, don't advertise their involvement. I mean, not even that. They don't want to, like, again, the U.S.'s line for a very long time was that we need to shut down the LTTE, right? We need to shut down the LTTE. They're terrorists. We need to shut down the LTTE. That was their line for a very long time. The U.S. is incredibly inconsistent when it comes to, like, their takes on this particular issue. Their foreign policy positions on this are incredibly inconsistent. Because they literally funded the Sri Lankan government, and then fucking Mike Pompeo, of all people, decided to sanction a bunch of war criminals from Sri Lanka. Think about it. Think about how fucked this situation has to be for Mike Pompeo to be the right guy. How fucked does a situation have to be for Mike fucking Pompeo to do the right thing? Seriously. And we just saw it right here. But like the other thing is, like, again, the LTTE provides a very convenient scapegoat. Mm-hmm. Oh, the LTTE committed like war crimes themselves. Yeah. Again, I'm not here to defend the LTTE, right? But why is, like, look at the scale of damage that has been done by the LTTE in comparison to the Sri Lankan government. Why is the Sri Lankan government's authority any more legitimate? Why is no one taking that anger that they had towards the LTTE and turning it on the Sri Lankan government?
Right.
Right? Right? That's the proper response to that. Why is no one taking that anger that they have towards the LTTE and turning it on the Sri Lankan government? Right? But yeah, the LTTE and the fucked up shit that they did provides a very convenient scapegoat. Yeah, and also 9/11 contributed to this as well. The U.S. viewed every paramilitary organization as terrorists. Yeah.
Right, like in the blanket term, terrorist just allows you to do shit like this, like where you can just generally ignore anything else other than getting the terrorists.
Exactly. No, exactly. Like, this is the shit that's really fucked up. Like, This is the shit that's super fucked up. Like you can get like it's super fucking easy to get away with this. It's like so. I mean, to answer your question, and I've gone about in a roundabout way. This stuff is it's not what I think the reason a lot of people don't talk about this is one, it's not easy to talk about this. It just is not easy to talk about this at all. One, it's not going to pop up on the news, and you're going to see why it's not popping up on the news. Israel-Palestine does pop up on the news. It does pop up on CNN. It does pop up on MSNBC these days, right? That stuff does pop up on MSNBC, and those are part of the ongoing talking points. And people tend to follow headlines, right? It's just natural human behavior, right? Or I mean, it's not natural human behavior. It's fucking capitalism, right?
Right.
It's that's one reason. And two, the LTTE are not, in my opinion, they're not the best representatives of the cause of Tamil liberation. But again, that's my personal opinion, right? But again, the LTTE's actions towards the Muslims provides a convenient scapegoat, against the LTTE. That's number two. And then the third part is like, again, it like there's no real points to be gained by talking about this. There isn't. There's nothing to be gained by talking about this. There's like, you're not going to get more viewers by talking about this. You're not going to like get more subscribers by talking about this. And instead of like, you're not going to get more subscribers by talking about this instead of chasing headlines. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
It's again doing economic calculation. Most Tamils consider LTTE as martyrs. Opinions are more varied. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't make that statement, but like, opinions are far more varied. Let's put it that way. But no, like talking about this particular issue doesn't get press. It just doesn't make you. There's no incentive to talk about this unless it is a passion, unless it literally is like something that is burning inside you. There's nothing to be gained by talking about this. I've literally had viewer counts drop because I talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the reason and also it's just like another thing I feel is like, this is often billed as like an internal issue, right? This conflict that happened in Sri Lanka, or this ongoing conflict, actually, this ongoing sort of genocide that is happening in Sri Lanka is often viewed as an internal conflict that should be handled by the Sri Lankan government, right? That's the way it's been billed as. The problem with that, is no, like it, like the problem. I mean, again, I hate to bring up the image that is staring at you straight in the face, but your government did not think it was an internal issue.
Right.
Your government didn't think it was an internal enough issue that they left Sri Lanka alone. So no.
Right. You don't get to wash your hands of it now that it's over.
It's not over, by the way.
Right.
Just the massive, the war crimes are done. But people are still getting kicked off their land.
Mm-hmm.
People are still getting, there's still a military occupation in the north. It's not cool, right? It is still a sublimated conflict that's still going on. You every Muli Vaikal or Mahavir Nod or anything like that. The protesters get fucking water cannoned by the police. They get water cannoned by the cops because they're treated as terrorists. They can't even commemorate the dead without being fucking harassed by the cops. So yeah, that's like the fucking situation in Sri Lanka. Like it is deeply fucked on so many levels. It is so incredibly fucked on so many levels. Like that's why I emphasize there needs to be a fucking solution to the governance situation. Pronto. It needs to happen a week ago. Like it should have been done but again, we don't live in a world where Sri Lanka the Sri Lankan state would willingly give up its power. Because now you have the government of Sri Lanka literally trying to replace, they're trying to basically Sinhalicize parts of the country now that are traditionally Tamil. So they're replacing like Hindu artifacts or Tamil artifacts with Buddhist artifacts. So it's literally the government encroaching on Tamil land. That's what the government is doing.
Right. They defeated the army, and now they're doing the ethnic cleansing, ethnic replacement portion of the genocide.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And by the way, I just want to let me show you the tweet. Let me show you the tweet just to give you an idea of how prevalent this idea is. Let me give you an idea of how prevalent Sinhalese Buddhist. I mean, it's not the most reputable source. It's not the most reputable source, but those are Facebook comments. But that should give you an idea of how, like, what people think. A decent chunk of people think in Sri Lanka, if not a good chunk of them.
I'm a terrible streamer.
Even North Indians don't know about this. Sanghis are branding Prabhakaran as Hindu soldiers. No, you're actually wrong about that. Sanghis are branding Prabhakaran as a crypto-Christian. Actually wrong about that. Sanghis are branding Prabhakaran as a Christian, which is absurd. Yep. There we go. If you want a Tamil land, go to Tamil Nadu. Sri Lanka is a Sinhala Buddhism country, so why should we represent Tamils and Muslims? These all heritages are Buddhist. Jaffna, which is a Tamil-dominated city, Kilinochchi, again, Tamil-dominated city, Trincomalee, another Tamil-dominated city, Batticaloa, are all Sinhala heritages. So don't fuck up, bro. Shut up and sit down. There's no fucking Tamil area in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is Sinhala country, Sinhalese country. Not even Hambantota, which... Okay, weird. Jaffna is also Sinhala area. Tamil fuckers don't have any area in Sri Lanka. This is the intentions of the government, by the way.
Right.
Like, straight up, like, no, you guys don't have any room here. No, we're going to exterminate you. Like, get out. That's literally what they're saying right now. Just openly, like, no, we're going to kill all of you. Again, these guys are going to be able to say this with impunity. That's just how fucked Sri Lankan politics is. That's how fucked this entire situation is. And the IMF loan is going to worsen economic conditions to the point where it is going to give a sort of petri dish ground for this toxic nationalism. It's going to create a scapegoat again in the form of the Tamils or Muslims, depending on who they decide, right? Depending on who the powers that be decide. And we're going to see this merry-go-round we're going to see this again. We're going to see this. We're going to see this one more time. We're going to see this travesty, this absolute calamity that happened one more time. If things don't change. So yeah. Sorry, there was my rant. Sorry. I did it.
Nothing to apologize for.
I did it again. Yeah.
It like my thing, why I'm here, why we do this, is because I don't want you to have to do it alone, because I feel like when you do it alone you get a little dark in your own head, and at least here you got somebody to talk to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thanks. But yeah, like this is why I'm yeah, no, more people need to know this. This is why people need to know about this, because this is super fucked up, and no one we just kind of let this fade away into nothing.
Yeah.
We kind of just let people get away with this. You forgot about this. Is this new or is this old? What is this? The Wire? This happened 2 years ago. Oh, Yeti Narsingh Anand. Oh, this. Oh, this dude's crazy. But this dude's a fucking weirdo. No, I've seen Sanghis. I've seen Hindu nationalists go both ways. Literally calling Prabhakaran a Christian, a crypto Christian, whatever, trying to subvert the Buddhists who are Hindus or some shit like that. I've seen them rationalize the weirdest shit. Yeah, this is this shows you the I mean, again, we've been showing this entire thing on screen just to demonstrate again, it's picture paints 1,000 words. That's all I need to say. I just show you and a video paints 1,000,000 words.
Right.
Right. I just need to show you that stuff. And that's it. Off to the races. The evidence is staring at you right in the fucking face. It's staring at you right in the face. I don't know what else to say. It's crazy. Yeah, that's all I have. That's basically all I have to say on this. This is just there's way more into this. Also, I'm gonna be doing a stream on May 18th, literally just talking about this.
Right.
All of this, everything. I'm still finalizing a couple of things here and there. But May 18th, the reason I chose May 18th is it marks the end of the Civil War. It marks the end of this war that you're looking at right there, and it marks it basically ended with a massacre on the town of Mullavaika in Sri Lanka. It ended with a literal it ended with a literal a massacre at the end.
Right.
So that's why I'm doing it. Not Martyr Day, that's different. That's Mahavir Nag. Mullavaika is different. So it's the day that a massacre happened. Actually, that stuff that you, by the way, the Mullavaika, the thing that I'm commemorating, that's in the documentary right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually, you see why I'm commemorating that day. It happened, like they'll say muli vaikal mulay tive. Yeah. So yeah, that's the special announcement. I'm still getting things together for that. I haven't figured out. I reached out to a couple of organizations to try and get them to come on board for a panel. Uh, Hopefully they respond sooner rather than later. Uh, yeah. Uh, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Like that's
That's the question. That is
Where do we go
always the
from here?
question.
Yeah. I think I promised myself I wouldn't do this, right? Every single time that some new guy that came in like that had never heard of this. I promised myself I wouldn't do this to every new person that did this. Like that just came in.
Right.
I saw Carpe come in and I was like, all right, this guy's probably never heard of it. This guy's probably not heard much of it before, so I need to tell him about this.
Right.
And I probably shouldn't be doing that. I should probably be saving my energy for this.
Yeah, to an extent, I see it both ways. You know, it's like when you have something that people have not been exposed to. I mean, what better opportunity is there? You know.
Yeah, you don't really have one. Like you're just grasping at any straws you can.
Right. But like when you look at like the thing that always gets me about this picture staring us in the face, you're fine about Dragon, is that it puts a lie to so much, right? Like, and like on my own personal journey through learning about stuff, like all the stuff that I learned when BLM, the protests were happening, and all the stuff I learned put a lie to so many of the things that I personally had believed. And you know, for me personally, you know, it was painful and difficult and challenging, but I feel like I came out of it a better person. And therefore, my contributions to the world, however small that they are always going to be better because of that. Like, I became a better person by learning that and by sharing that information and gaining new information and being open to that. This does that on a geopolitical scale, right? Like all the lies that you believe that are related to how the world works, this just shows you that no, it's all bullshit. And especially as it's perceived for your personal favorite team that might be on this list, they're all bastards. And yeah, it's a material realism kind of thing. I don't do isms. I just talk about what this stuff is. Because when you start using isms, then people like have knee jerk reactions. Like I don't say anarchist, right? Like I don't say, you know, like I'm a leftist. It's like this is what I believe. I believe that everyone should have like housing and food and medical care and you know, more democracy and less coercive authoritarianism. Whatever category that puts me in, go for it. But these are the things I believe. So if you have something else you want to comment on, absolutely. Otherwise, we've been going for almost 3 hours at this point, and
3 actually.
Yeah, we can call it, and you can try and enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Oh yeah, I am probably just gonna relax. I'm probably gonna maybe hit the bars or something. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see what I'm gonna do. I might take it easy today or something. My legs also hurt.
Yeah. How's your back feeling?
It's better. It's better. I started doing more exercises for my back, so hopefully that fixes some things. But no, my legs are sore from workouts, so
Yeah, you're too
But yeah.
young to have back problems, so definitely
Oh,
keep
yeah.
an eye on that.
Oh yeah, I will. I'll take care of that. I might actually start playing Diablo 4. We'll see.
Yeah.
I might get into that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I do.
What's the greatest video game series of all time? Xenoblade?
I don't know if I'd say that, but no, I love Xenoblade. Xenoblade is amazing. I love Xenoblade. I got all of the DLC for Xenoblade 3. Xenogears.
No, Xenogears is something else.
Xenogear. No, I mean it's in the general family. Yeah, Xenoblade is like after Xenogears.
Okay. Yeah, see, I don't like the games I play are usually like strategy games, you know, like Stellaris and Total War and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've thought about getting Guild Wars 2, but I haven't thought about it too much. But yeah, I'm a big like I used to play Diablo 3 a lot, and a bit of Diablo 2 and Path of Exile. It was like a Final Fantasy knockoff. Yeah, it used to be Final Fantasy knockoff, but Xenoblade has evolved into something entirely different. It's very good. Totally recommend it.
And I shouted you out earlier. I'll shout you out again. When's your next stream?
Tomorrow morning.
There you go.
Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can do like the slash shout out too as well. You can do this. This is what a lot of people have been using these days.
Yeah, I can do it. I'm not used to I'm used to doing it on the mobile, and the mobile doesn't do that. So.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, go follow Arun. You know, like.
Thank you.
Passionate belief in what he's talking about, and if you appreciate this kind of content, if this is the kind of content you want to see, then you have to support the people who are doing it. You know, 100%.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the follow. Yeah. I'm actually, by the way, like, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah. Yeah, I already came up with like the promo material for the stream, but we'll see what happens.
Right on.
Yeah. But yeah, I was playing Destiny 2 with my mom while working the last hour or so. So I caught some of it. Yeah. I also like talked to Globus about AI stuff, like, like on like off stream. Basically, I was just talking about like GPT-4.
Yeah, if there's the Discord link for anyone, all the links that were discussed. If a name comes up, I Google that shit, I grab that link, I throw it in the Discord. It's all in there so that you can learn more about, you know, what we're talking about in your own time when you're not, you know, watching stream or whatever.
Back for tea. Yo, Smoothie, we're just about to finish. We're just about to finish, dude.
Yeah. But thank you for all the new follows today. Thank you for all the people who came in. Thank you for the raid, Carpe. And thank you, Arun, always for your time. You know, I'll probably see you in your chat tomorrow, and I'll definitely see you, you know, next Friday, and if not, in my chats Monday and Wednesday. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Mondays and Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern, I stream about AI. I talk about that, new stuff, all this, and like, shit is wild. Could be good, could be, you know,
could be wild, yeah.
All right, my friend. I will see you tomorrow probably.
See you tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, chat. I appreciate all of you. I took a look at who's available, and I think we're gonna raid the homie Talorx. If you don't know Talorx, they're another cool dude. They talk about like high control groups and other stuff, and you know, been supportive of the stream down from day one, friend of the stream, all that good stuff. So that's it. I will see you Monday. If you want to know more about AI. In the meantime, drink some water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot. Shoggy loves you. So do I.